Yo, yo, yo. What's up? What's up? What's up? And hello to my fellow revolutionaries. You know who you are, and welcome to today's Friday stream. Friday from Australia, the land of Oz, of course. If you're joining us from anywhere else that hasn't reached the future yet, then let me just say the future is bright. Jerry Poppins checking in on the roll call straight away. 4AS in the house. Yo, 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 yo. Thomas Dickerson, it is the roll call. What's up, what's up? Give up the rock. Give up the FBI. Give up the the Kiwi division of the FBI. Apparently, I didn't know that was a thing until now. But we are going to dig deeper into this one because it is a little bit strange, I must say. Now, I'm going to give this one a crack from Voltateur, and I'm going to butcher it, but I'll do my best. Kia ora ti wanau, I want to say. Let's get some Kiwi feedback on this one, and we'll see if I've butchered that one or not. We've got an NZ local in the house. Yes, I know. And that's why I'm trying my best not to destroy the relationship across the ditch. I'm trying my best. But we all know that we're all one happy family, to be honest. We're really just one nation across the Tasman. So almost LOL. Oh, gee. Okay, sweet. I tried my best. I did try my best. All right. Roll call is done. Let's just check the stream chat because I know somebody else might be lurking in there. Let's have a look. Sees yo yo yo. It's Avalava in the house. Technical support from the Discord section. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. So let me do my usual Fridays, okay? Because it's a ritual, and we must do this as working people of the world. On the eve of the weekend, the most sacred time on the calendar, on the week calendar of the working people of the world, I would like to pay my respects to workers past, present, and emerging. It is on your shoulders that the entirety of modern society has been built, is being built, and will be built. Don't let anyone else tell you anything else. Don't let anyone convince you that it's like AI or robots or something like that's going to take over. It is us. It is people that make all the value in society, whether directly or indirectly. And it is the working people that are responsible for that value production. And like I said, we do it all. Everything you see around you is a result of some working person or conglomeration thereof somewhere. So I pay my respects to all of them out there. And like I said, especially on the eve of the weekend. The weekend is a sacred time where capital cannot touch you. It's not supposed to touch you. English is a very unique language because it has a word for the weekend. Yes, it is that modern that it didn't exist before working people stood up and said, hey, you can't just work us to death. Let us have a couple of days out of 7 that we can call our own. So I hope you don't get touched by capital over the weekend. And if you do, I hope you get duly compensated and remunerated, and you get some type of penalty rates or something like that. So enjoy your weekend, and you've made it to the end of the working hustle. Jerry Poppins dole bludgers contribute too. Look, they make the economy go round. But they are forever out of the grips of capital, let's say, if they're not really searching for employment or anything. Hey, capitalists, stop it. Our weekend. Yes, that's right. It's our weekend. Don't forget that. It is ours. So we're going to go down a very, very different rabbit hole today. I must admit, it's not my usual hole. Okay, we've been hiding in an Epstein hole for, about a week and a half now. And it's been interesting. I usually go down, surveillance capitalistic, techno-feudalist, near-reactionary holes. But this time we're going to go down a very strange one. Like I said, that I didn't think really was a hole to begin with. But the FBI has recently opened up, and Mr. E likes filling holes. Sometimes fun to switch holes. Classic dilemmas style there. It's good to have you in this stream. I expected nothing less. But yes, everybody gets the insinuation, and they're carrying on with it by the sounds of it. Yeah, the FBI has opened up a new office in Wellington, which is nice. It's nice. It's nice that they're so interested in the global climate, geopolitics, that they're deciding to open up new offices in New Zealand. I too enjoy a variety of holes. Thank you for adding to the mix. That was the insinuation. That was the joke, and everyone's jumping on it, which is nice to see. It's Friday, isn't it? Hey, let's have a little bit of fun. Yeah, and like it seemed striking to me. Like when Voltster said it yesterday in the stream, I was like, link me, please. What the hell are you talking about? So I've looked at the article, but I want to dig a bit deeper. So let's have a look at this article that has been provided by our New Zealand correspondent, who is also helping us understand how to speak in Maori enough to get you by in terms of what's acceptable discourse in a political setting or a public setting in New Zealand. So let's have a look. Where were we? I got to find this article now. Where are ya? I think it's from Radio NZ was the article that we're looking at. I was trying to figure out what the hell RNZ was for a while, and I was like, oh, it's a radio news outlet. Interesting. They'd also do written articles. How lovely. That's nice of them. So let's have a look-sees at this article, shall we? I'll change scenes for you so you can actually see what I'm looking at. All right, so the FBI to open a standalone office in Wellington. What's that about? Hey, anyone want to speculate on that one? Everyone's jumping on the whole discussion. Why don't you jump on this? What the fuck are the FBI up to? The FBI will be setting up a permanent office in New Zealand's capital after Director Cash Patel, ye old Cashy boy over here, met with several ministers, the heads of the police and New Zealand spy agencies. Who is New Zealand spy agencies? I wonder who those people are. They all look pretty chuffed, don't they? They're pretty happy with themselves. The US Embassy in Wellington confirmed in a statement plans for a dedicated law enforcement attaché office in the city. An attaché sounds nice, doesn't it? It's got a nice ring to it. While the FBI has stationed personnel in New Zealand for several years, establishing a full legat position in the country will strengthen and enhance the long-standing cooperation with key Five Eye partners in the Southwest Pacific region, the statement said. This new upgraded office will continue to work with our New Zealand partners to address shared priority areas through joint investigations, information sharing, capacity building, etc., usual hard to tell keywords or jargon from a bureaucratic deep state agency, by the sounds of it. Like, look at all these official looking people, standing around smiling, with the only darkie there as well. Very fair meeting this one was. It will work to investigate and disrupt a wide range of threats and criminal activities, including terrorism, cybercrime, and fraud. Cybercrime's a big one, It's getting large, this issue. Like, it was big anyway. I get it, but stepping into the new age with AI, stepping up and helping. Cybercrime's going to be much more harder to detect and deter. So cybercrime, fraud, organized crime and money laundering, child exploitation, and foreign intelligence threats, all the usual stuff. It will have the responsibility for partnerships in New Zealand, Antarctica, what the hell, Samoa, Nui, Cook Islands, and Tonga. Where are these places? What's Nui? Does anyone actually know this place? Has anyone been to Nui before? Hopefully I've said that one right. Someone wants to resources. Interesting. Yeah, they are resources, control over resources, especially Antarctica, right? And like they want to, basically, they're a bit worried about China, right, in the Pacific island chains. And they want to make sure that they got a foothold somewhere. And Australia is not close enough, apparently. It's not enough. They need offices in New Zealand because they've got a, what do they call it? A legate station in Canberra, but that's not enough. They really need to sink their teeth into the Pacific, apparently. So, does anyone know this country? Let's have a look at it. Let's do a geography lesson, shall we? Where the fuck is Nui? Cheap flights, cheap deals. All right, let's have a look. Anyone been there before? Anyone? Looks beautiful. Look at that. Look at those images. That's it. That's the place. Is that it? Yeah, that's the one. And zooming out. So Fiji, Tonga, French Polynesia, eh? The best part of Polynesia, let's be honest. Good old French. Yeah, right. It's right out there, isn't it? Just a little stroll from New Zealand. Not a long way. Far out. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, if you were interested, there's the place. Our right-wing coalition wants to further privatize our public sector. That investment money will come from North America because of their connection. So what, your right-wing coalition government has strong connections to the Americans somehow, American businesses? I guess that's the wedge, right? Usual right-wing parties get wedged to business somehow, isn't it? Wow, look at that. It's just really hanging off there. Damn. All right, so basically they want to have access, I'm assuming. This is what I'm thinking, right? You know, in the face of the China threat, we need to have access to the Pacific. And like the FBI, though, we'll get to that. Like, what's the FBI, a Federal Bureau of Investigations for America, doing out in the Pacific, setting up offices? We'll get to that. Patel was spotted in the Beehive basement on Wednesday afternoon. What the hell's a Beehive? Anyone? Maybe our New Zealand correspondents can help us with that. Let's I don't know. Let's get AI to help us with this one then. I refer to the article in the attached link, and they refer to Kash Patel being spotted in the Beehive. What is that? I feel like we're going to learn a lot about New Zealand today. Yeah, with think tanks connections, okay, with the Heritage Foundation and those oil companies that want to continue to drill off our shores and mine our mountains. Yeah, is it true that you guys are lifting some of the restrictions that you've had around like oil drilling around New Zealand and stuff like that? Around, I think it's the main islands. I'm pretty sure. Beehive is the name of our main government building. It looks like one, and yes, we are. Yeah, I'm surprised at that. I really am, actually. Excellent question. It's a piece of local slang that's completely opaque if you're not from New Zealand. In the context of the article, Beehive is a common name for the executive wing of the New Zealand Parliament buildings in Wellington. All right, let's check the Beehive out, shall we? I'm learning so much today. New Zealand. Wait, I better stretch that. I'm just getting pictures of beehives. Oh, right. Interesting. I guess it does look like a beehive, I guess. And like, are the people proud of it? Ah, you more, you know. The more you know. Oh, it's cheese Swiss. Wow. Someone's turning into a regular. Watch out. People are going to start talking. Eh? People are going to start saying things. Beehive is their lodge. Countries are funny. Yeah, like, are you guys proud of the architecture of this one? Because I know, like, Australians are kind of, I guess, proud of, like, the Sydney Opera House or something like that. I think people are generally pretty okay with Canberra. Massive planned city just for our federal parliament. So, like, people are generally okay, I think, with that. But, like, generally the architecture of, like, the Harbour Bridge or, um, yeah, the Opera House, people are stoked with it. How do New Zealanders feel about the Beehive? Look at this thing. It's crazy. All right, we're learning stuff today. We're learning. This is why we're here. We're here to learn. And that's where, so Patel was spotted in the Beehive basement. I don't think many people even give it a thought. Okay, fair enough. Well, it's a very interesting piece of architecture. A former US national security official has picked, a former US national security official, he was picked for the top FBI role by US President Donald Trump. And you know what? That's a really interesting point. Like, let's look at that, because does anyone actually know much about ye old Kash Patel? Like, honestly, what's the go with Kash Patel? But I'm not from Wellington, so most people I know haven't even seen it. Yeah, okay, fair enough. The beehive and bees were symbols of industry, prosperity, and social order. That's interesting. And, like, they also have some other, I guess, what's the word? Cryptic symbology for, elite circles and ruling classes, because I know the Bonapartes, so the Napoleon dynasty, they used the bee as their symbol. So interesting. I wonder what's going on there. Kash Bugeye Patel. Yeah, let's have a quick let's go on a quick tangent here, and, like, let's learn about who the hell Kash Patel is. And we're learning off ABC News. I'm assuming this is an American source. So let's go quickly divert.
Tonight, there's some controversy surrounding President-elect Trump's pick to run the FBI. Kash Patel, he's been a loyal Trump supporter for years, and now he could become the chief of the bureau he vowed to gut. Who is he, and what does this mean for a position that's traditionally been apolitical? Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas reports.
President-elect Donald Trump making good on his campaign pledge, calling for radical changes.
Kash is the ultimate trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. Like, 100%. He does have that vibe to him. That's a really good way. Did you come up with that, or did you hear that somewhere else? That's actually really good. Like, I haven't seen, like, much of him. I haven't really followed him too much. I remember there was a big, uproar when he was being, he was being put up to the Senate committee and the hearings and stuff like that, and they were, grilling him about his appointment. But I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. But, like, he's got that vibe to him, definitely. And, like, he goes on fucking the circuit, the podcaster circuit, and, like, he's always, loosely giving answers to stuff, and you're like, come on. Hello, I'm here to say hi and lurk, okay? Nice to see you. Thanks for doing the roll call. At least I know you're there. Appreciate it. From his appearance on Rogan, that was the vibe he was putting off. Yeah, and that's what I've seen cuts from as well. How, like, they're pressing him for answers on stuff, especially over, the Epstein stuff and what happened with Pam Bondi, and how she was just like, yeah, well, I'm reviewing the Epstein files. I don't know about you. And then, like, he's kind of like towing the party line after that, being like, I don't know if there really is anything on them. I don't think there is even files. Like, we don't know what you're talking about, kind of thing. So yes, he does seem like that. Like, just trust me, bro. We're across it, I swear. So anyway, let's learn about who the fuck he actually is.
Just at the FBI, selecting one of
FBI.
the fiercest loyalists, Kash Patel, to lead the agency.
He's tough, he's smart, he loves our country, and he is a warrior. Kash Patel.
Trump on Truth Social calling him a brilliant lawyer, investigator, and America First fighter.
Okay, so he's a lawyer. Isn't it interesting? Like, this is one of my big theories about bourgeois society. Like, bourgeois society, which is, the capitalistic world that we live in, the basis for that, Marx non-stop talks about bourgeois people and, like, the bourgeoisie and all that sort of stuff. And, the usual tendency or the default that you acquaint with the bourgeoisie or bourgeois culture is, it's all about economics, right? Like, these people were traders and they were in commerce and they set up society kind of in their image to allow like the commerce and the economic dealings that were happening in the cities and the towns to be the focal point of society. So moving from the country being the basis to the economy to the city being the basis to the economy. And the bourgeois revolution was changing the Middle Ages, feudalism, all that sort of stuff. And that's what birthed a capitalistic society and then birthed the Industrial Revolution after that. It was bourgeois society. And it's all about, commerce and trade. But the centerpiece, really, the layer of society, that middle class that sat in there and structured the bourgeois economy and therefore bourgeois society, is actually lawyers. Lawyers. The people that made money in commerce and stuff like that, they didn't just make new businesses. They sent their sons off to become lawyers. And like, in order to be able to have contracts and dealings with other people, in order to have good commercial relationships, you need lawyers. Lawyers are the key to a bourgeois society. So like, it just really seems that, you want to be a politician, you want to be a head of a big bureaucratic organization, you want to be across the rich and the powerful and like get in through like the channels, let's say, as opposed to just pure nepotism. Become a lawyer. They just seem to be everywhere. And they seem to be like I'm saying here, is my grand thesis here, is they are the backbone of bourgeois society, not traders and people involved in economics and markets and all that sort of stuff. It's fucking lawyers. And it's true that, if you have enough money to spend on lawyers, you can do anything in our society. Have you seen who Trump appointed as the ambassador to Malaysia? No, I haven't. I will have to have a look at that. Trump loves his lawyers. Then they get the blame in court. Yeah, and he churns through them too, I'm sure. But like, he's actually staffed himself and surrounded. He's put all of his top attorneys and lawyers in positions of power. Now that's a hole. Okay, fair enough. We might have to get to that one separately then. Trump appointed as the ambassador to Malaysia. Yeah, well, remind me. We might have to look at that one later. Let's continue with Patel. But yeah, everyone's a lawyer.
And social calling him a brilliant lawyer, investigator, and America First fighter.
And we all have a job to do. We have the benefit. We're blessed by God to have Donald Trump be our juggernaut of justice.
The
juggernaut of
44-year-old
justice.
Patel grew up on Long Island, the son of immigrants from Africa with Indian heritage. He attended Pace University, went on to be a public defender in Miami for 9 years, and then served as a Department of Justice prosecutor.
Cash Patel, where's Cash? Thank you, Cash.
The hardliner has been an ally to Trump for years, appearing at his criminal trial in New York and earning the praise of longtime Trump confidant Roger Stone on Stone's podcast.
As you know, Cash, I'm a dog lover. I have named one of my dogs Cash. This is not to make light of you. This is a homage to you. This is because I admire you and your fight.
Patel has called for shutting down the FBI's headquarters in Washington.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
In his book writing, drastic measures need to be taken and that Democrats should be very afraid.
I'm never going to be the one that says defund the FBI or get rid of it, but it needs a complete rehabilitation.
He has spread false claims about voter fraud January 6th and accused the so-called deep state of targeting Trump.
The government gangsters in Washington, D.C. have one main operational arm. That is a two-tier system of justice that they choose to weaponize and politicize because we care more about America than they do.
He's also talked positively about the QAnon conspiracy on the podcast Patriot Party News.
You got to harness that following that Q has garnered and just sort of tweak it a little bit. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, he should get credit for all the things he has accomplished.
And in an appearance on Steve Bannon's podcast, he's vowed to go after Trump's adversaries in the federal government and the media, too.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
During Trump's first term, Patel served on the National Security Council before temporary roles as the Deputy Director of National Intelligence and the Pentagon. He was a vocal critic of the investigation into Trump's ties to Russia. Trump even talked about making Patel Deputy FBI Director in 2020. But then Attorney General Bill Barr opposed the move so much he said it would only, quote, happen over my dead body. Ever since the Watergate scandal, Congress decided that the FBI director should serve a 10-year term, specifically to avoid White House interference in criminal investigations. And traditionally, nominees have tried to appear apolitical. Trump himself nominated the current director, Christopher Wray, who assumed the role back in 2017. And he would need to fire him first, or Wray would need to offer his resignation.
Well, Christopher Wray, of course, is a Republican, appointed by a Republican, as he has said, but apparently has demonstrated too much independence and objectivity in the job for Donald Trump.
But Republican Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota has expressed confidence in Wray's leadership, calling him a, quote, very good man.
Well, So what happened to Wray then? Anyone? Like to know. Would you like to know more? Cheese Swiss, the first individuals to be formally recognized as legal professionals and allowed to charge fees for their services were the orators of ancient Rome. There you go. Mainfort, Blackstone, and Kelly, going back to the Reagan admin. Far middle, you can tell he's lying when his eyes get bigger. His girlfriend is Israeli intelligence and way too hot for him. Yeah, well, when you're powerful, I guess, and you get to the top, then you can do what you want. What happened to this Ray guy, though? To Reagan? Hey, what a phenomenon she was. All right, let's have a look. If Kash Patel is now serving as FBI director, what happened to Ray? You can think about that for a little bit. This is shaping up to venture into a multitude of holes. A good Friday indeed. Yeah, I know it's a bit erratic at the moment, but I just want to get as much context as possible. Because they're just talking about, Kash Patel, he's a household name, which he kind of is, but I just don't have enough context on him. And he seems a bit suspect, right? He looks a bit dodgy. A little bit too much, trust me, bro. Okay, so I just want to find out a little bit more about Mr. Patel. Based on the information provided, Christopher Wray resigned from his position as FBI director, which he held since August 2nd, 2017. On November 30th, 2012, President-elect announced his plan to nominate Kash Patel to replace Wray. This required a Senate approval. On the 11th of December, Wray announced he would resign in January 2025. This decision meant he would leave his post more than 2.5 years before the end of the term, which was not set to end until 2027. Following Wray's departure, the Republican-led Senate voted to confirm Kash Patel as the new FBI director. Patel officially became the director on that date. So, he just resigned. Fair enough. Obviously, the pressure coming from Donald Trump was hard enough, and the Republican, he relented. That's what you do for the party. That's bourgeois politics right there. They do what's good for the party so it can survive in the political race, not what's good for the people. There's a difference.
Have any complaints about the way that he's done his job right now? And the message, and one that I feel very strongly about, is that there is a constitutional separation. The Founding Fathers did that for a reason. We accept that the president should have the people that he wants in his cabinet and on his team. Every president wants that. We give them the benefit of the doubt.
Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, who is in line to chair the Senate Judiciary Committee next month, has been more critical of Wray. on X writing that he had failed as FBI director and that Patel must prove to Congress he will reform and restore public trust in the FBI. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas also in favor of change.
I think Kash Patel is a very strong nominee to take on the partisan corruption in the FBI.
We are going to look back together and say, we helped destroy the two-tier system of justice that is targeting Americans illegally.
Major shakeup if he's confirmed. Our thanks to Pierre Thomas for that.
Well, what the hell just happened there? That was weird. Anyone want to just slow motion watch the fountain over here? That was really weird. Oh, anyway, there you go. There's Kash Patel. He's a lawyer. He's supported Trump for a while. Served in his first administration, in a couple of maybe, security/intelligence kind of roles. He's a lawyer. He's just backed the right fucking horse. Like, a lot of the American politics situation at the moment really does seem that. And like, we've been reading Project 2025. Okay, if you're not sure or across what Project 2025 is, it is a document written by the Heritage Foundation, talking about Heritage Foundation, for your Voltaire. It's the document written by the Heritage Foundation and like just a usual and just general American conservative think tanks to help guide the new conservative American president in 2025 as to like what to attack first, and to attack fucking hard. And, you know, stacking the presidency with loyalists is just the way to go. And so if Kash Patel's backed the right horse and wants to, you know, support Trump, then Trump's going to reward people that seem to follow his agenda, and the FBI need to be brought to heel. Like, especially given what's going on at the moment with the Epstein files, you know, that always finds its way back into the discussion. But like, you know, you have to have a rap on the FBI. And like they said supposedly in this article just then, ABC News, that, or this video just then, that there was a direct separation of powers after Watergate because of Nixon. Then they had to separate the terms of the FBI director to make sure that it wasn't really a political posting. So they recycle them every 10 years. And lo and behold, Republican Ray has resigned early so Trump could do an appointee style arrangement of Kash Patel, someone that's going to get in there. And as Project 2025 asks, it's very, very direct. You gut out these institutions, these bureaucracies, and you put in loyalists who will do whatever that you want them to do. And that's why you see those really awkward footage, or those those captures, those snippets of Patel like struggling, like, you know, to answer questions on what happened to the Epstein files and like, why has the story changed so much? And you see him, he's like going bug-eyed. His eyes get bigger when he's lying. Because he's a loyalist and he's got to do whatever Daddy Trump wants, and Daddy Trump is pissed off. He's got his belt out. He's back for round number 2, and he's going to start breaking stuff. So anyway, we've gone down that rabbit hole. We've gone down a few rabbit holes. He has made headlines in recent weeks in the battle over the release of the U.S. government documents about Epstein. Thursday's statement confirmed he had met with ministers Judy Collins, Mark Mitchell, and Winston Peters, as well as Police Commissioner Richard Chambers, Director General of the NZSIS, Andrew Hampton, and Director General of the GCSB, Andrew Clark. Chambers said their meeting included discussion with law enforcement initiatives. He is here and I will be meeting him. We are very fortunate to have the director in New Zealand so early in his tenure of what is a very high profile position and influential. It's a pretty apt point, I must say. We are very fortunate, not to say that, you know, these people shouldn't be going to New Zealand, but we are very fortunate to have a director in New Zealand so early in his tenure. So what is that saying? I'm telling you, the China threat, people have been backing out of China hardcore. The Americans especially, as you know, definitely if they're going to be doing things like, you know, smashing up organizations like USAID, which is, for all intents and purposes, an international development fund. It goes out and it provides funding through soft diplomacy to basically encourage support for, I guess, Western hegemony. So especially, like, definitely Western or American power and influence across the world. It goes out and spends money on people on conditions that they, adopt American culture of Western values like, freedom and democracy and unreal things like that. But like they pretend like they're real. But like the development in the Pacific Islands or funding or support for people in the Pacific nations has dropped massively from the US, especially. Like Australia has done some stupid shit in that regard. I believe we've pulled out because, we want to look after Australia first kind of thing. And we don't want to spend money there. But like it's important to have, I think, some type of a foot in all of these countries for diplomatic reasons, for strategic reasons, etc. And like, we, like the Americans, have been cutting that off greatly over the last, I don't know, decade or more, I would say. And guess who's filling the void? Surprise, surprise, like everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. Like the Chinese are in there. They're offering terms for trade. They are opening them up to different markets. They are supplying them with infrastructure and new opportunities. Like one of the things apparently that the Chinese have done for the Fijians is like they've set up direct flights for the Fijians so they can go straight to Beijing or Shanghai if they want to, instead of having to go to 3 different places to be able to, connect with the international community. And so like China's in there diplomatically, strategically, whatever you want to call it, aggressively, depending on where you sit on the aisle. But they're in the Pacific. And lo and behold, we are very fortunate to have the FBI director in New Zealand so early in his tenure of what is a very high profile position and very influential. I wonder why he's gracing us with his presence. Because America's worried about China. China. I will be having some of my staff who have been through programs run by the FBI over many years meeting with him and with me to acknowledge their contribution to policing here in New Zealand. It's really interesting, right? Like officers who have been running with the FBI for many years, meeting with him, and like this Kash Patel guy is just like, yeah, well, I got my position because I know Donald Trump, like kind of thing. So you have all these ingrained, hardened bureaucrats, people that are inside the system working with the FBI for a long time. They know their stuff, and they're meeting someone like Kash Patel who just got his job because he's a lawyer and probably doesn't know much about FBI practices at all. I mean, he might know some shit now, actually. A statement from Mitchell, the police minister, and Collins, who is the minister responsible for GCSB and NZSIS, said that the move demonstrated the strength of the Five Eyes partnership. We're going to get into that. And would enhance the safety and security of New Zealanders. We exchange a range of insights in areas such as transnational organized crime, counterterrorism, cybersecurity, and espionage. Dun, dun. Mitchell said Patel's visit should send a clear message to criminals that they could not hide behind an international border. Yeah, I bet you all the criminals out there looking at this article by Radio New Zealand and are watching this stream right now, and they're like, fuck, we're cooked, bro. We are cooked. They've got us. Patel's opened an office in Wellington. That's it. We're going to have to leave the Pacific. I don't know what we're going to do. We can't even go to Antarctica. They've got that covered too. We can't go to Niue, Cook Islands, Samoa, Tonga. We're screwed. We're completely screwed. That's hilarious. Police are part of a global effort on law enforcement. Director Patel's visit was an excellent opportunity to share our common concerns while reinforcing the importance of New Zealand and the US working together to protect our citizens. There's like a whole real career built in saying shit without saying anything at all. Like, what are they talking about? Nothing. Give us some meat here. Mitchell said New Zealand police were continually working with overseas counterparts like the FBI to catch criminals and disrupt and prevent crime, including drug smuggling and online child exploitation. It depends what they define as criminal activity, right? Yeah, that's a good one, actually. I'll take it back. Eh? If they define whatever they think is criminal activity, so anyone that's against the state, but like definitely not, corrupt politicians or weird political maneuvers by international companies that align with coalition governments and conservative governments to, deregulate and privatize, steal from the people of a sovereign nation and, pillage them of all their resources, protesting. Hey? Yeah, we're working with the FBI because no one knows how to crack down on people just like the Americans do with their militarized police forces. The sheep mafia. Damn, Jag coming in, hey, with a call, with a shot across the bow. Hey, obviously understands some of the banter that goes on between Australians and New Zealanders, and we both pay each other out about sheep. But I would argue that it's more of a joke for us, I would say, but who knows? I'll get that confirmed from our New Zealand correspondents. But yeah, the sheep mafia, watch out for the sheep mafia. They're the real fucking criminals out there. That's why the FBI's opened up, because you can't trust them. I've watched enough Shaun the Sheep to know what sheep really get up to. It's pretty fucked up. A spokesperson from the NZ, SIS, GCSB, spy agencies, and said international relationships, particularly with Five Eye partners, were fundamental to their work, and their engagements with Patel were an opportunity to build on the strong, enduring relationship. Issues of mutual national security interests were discussed, including regional security, transnational organized crime. Come on, they've said the same thing 5 times already. What do they actually mean? Discussions with Director Patel occurred alongside his engagements with New Zealand police, who are a key domestic partner for both. Yeah, whatever. Fuck the sheep. No time for that, bro. Yeah, very good for us. Very good. All right, let's have. I think I found another, potentially a video actually from about this topic from a New Zealand source as well. So let's see what they say about stuff.co.nz. It's a great name for a media outlet. Stuff, we report on stuff and shit. Here it is.
This footage was
Stuff and Co. Here it is. All right, let's have a crack.
The reason for the FBI director's secret visit to Wellington has been revealed.
Okay, for the Australians that are listening to this, listen to her accent. Listen to her accent. Can you tell if she is a Kiwi or an Australian? I think presenters in our part of the world just all have this same kind of professional sounding voice. There's very small, maybe inflections or something in her accent when she says the ends of words that maybe she's not Australian, but I can't tell the difference. That could be anyone on Channel 7 or Channel 9 or something like that. Any standard cookie cutter, just cut and paste media reporter from any Australian mainstream media source. It's crazy. Listen to that voice. Listen.
The reason for the FBI director's secret visit to Wellington has been revealed. It was to open a new FBI base in New Zealand. Kash Patel was spotted in Parliament's basement yesterday, but no one in the Beehive or the US Embassy would say why he was here. Well, it turns out he was meeting with ministers, police and spy agency bosses about the new FBI office. Here's Lloyd Burr.
Kia ora. I think I don't know if I nailed it or not, but
no, you did well, brilliantly.
It was the visit no one was meant to know about. The boss of the FBI slipping into the country to open his agency's newest branch. But Kash Patel was spotted at Parliament yesterday, and all of this footage was released this afternoon, but only because the UK's Daily Mail lifted the lid on it all.
The FBI is actually prioritizing a permanent presence across all Five Eyes countries, and here in New Zealand, We had not had that until this historic moment.
This interview conducted by embassy staff, the US wanting to control the whole process, even New Zealand ministers refusing to say anything until a US embassy statement was released.
There will be a statement that will come out later. I'm not going to make any comment. There will be a statement coming out later. There will be a statement coming out later, and I will not be making any further comment. I'm not commenting on that. Wait for our statement, guys. There will be a statement coming out later today. There won't be a statement coming from me. There will be a statement. There will be a statement from the government. I will not be discussing any more detail.
Released in the...
Oh, man. Fucking hell. They're professionals. They know how to avoid questions like nothing else. Like, at least when you see Trump, like, avoiding questions, he's like, fake news. You were wrong. And I can't believe that came from somebody like you. Such a terrible organization. Terrible, terrible, terrible organization. Like, this guy's just like, no, not saying it. Not saying it. You can't pin me down, brother. Come on, brother. You can pick the Kiwi twang, like, on him, but like her? Like, there was some words, like, slightly. Okay, we would maybe say that a little bit different. Like, slightly. But it was very, like, it is very middle of the road. This is what you have to sound like if you want to be a journalist or if you want to be a reporter for a media outlet. It's slight.
The middle of his press conference.
Oh, you just got the statement? There you go. I haven't read the statement. I'll go away and read it. I'm not going to comment on that. Well, I'm not going to talk to the specifics on that. I don't know. I'm not going to go into
this is hilarious
meetings, but I've got to go, guys, because I've got to get to graduation. Yeah, but thank you, guys. I've got to go.
Patel met with Mark Mitchell, Spy Agencies Minister Judith Collins, and Foreign Minister Winston Peters.
It took place yesterday about the same time as the tsunami warning went off.
Patel sending off a warning to China.
Some of the most important global...
Boom. Alrighty, there it is. Here's the real reason why Patel's here, is to fight off the Chinese.
Issues of our times are the ones that New Zealand and America...
You should see how our PM speaks. Like that many deflections. It was just like we were watching someone play table tennis just then. It was like, it was great. Didn't even vary it. Probably media voice training. Americans would think it's a Pommy accent. Yeah, I've had many a comment on my content throughout the years from, I'm assuming, Americans, and they're just like, who's this British fuck? Tell him to shut up. He doesn't know about American politics. It's pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny, actually. All right, here's the here's the real reason why Patel's here. Eh? It's not to talk to Winston over here and hold footballs. Is that what he was doing?
China.
Some of the most important global issues of our times are the ones that New Zealand and America work on together. Countering the CCP in the Indo-PACOM theater.
The CCP is the Chinese Communist Party, which governs China. There are concerns over its influence, espionage and alleged involvement in crime rings. Not that New Zealand ministers wanted to talk about it.
He does specifically mention China and countering the threat. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't respond to other people's press releases.
I'm not speaking to... I'm not talking about any foreign policy and stuff.
This guy's great. Who is this guy?
I don't predict what other...
I can watch him all day. One more time. I don't do that. I don't talk about that.
It's any foreign policy and stuff. Talk to the Prime Minister or Winston.
Stuff.
I don't.
What's this news outlet called? Stuff.co. That's so good. He should be their spokesperson. I don't talk about that stuff. Say the thing.
Any foreign policy and stuff. Talk to the Prime Minister or Winston.
I don't predict what other people want to talk about. Why don't you ask them what they want to talk about? For me to do that would be thoroughly undiplomatic.
China's our biggest trading partner, so the FBI's new base here might agitate them.
Do you think China will be brassed off that the FBI has set up a base here?
I don't have any view of that.
Do you think they could retaliate?
Look, I don't have any view of that.
Opposition parties certainly do.
Oh, just no. We're not another state of the United States. We shouldn't be allowing foreign powers to set up shop like this. Don't like that. Don't like that idea at all.
I personally haven't received an explanation, and I think that the general public are going to be wanting to know what the rationale is for this.
So what is it apart from countering China?
Countering the narcotics trade, working against cyber intrusions and ransomware operations, and most importantly, protecting our respective citizenry here in New Zealand, at home in America, and across the world.
Although they didn't seem to protect the rights of our cameraman when he was filming the US Embassy in Wellington, where the FBI office is based.
Do you have any ID on you?
Yes, I do.
G'day.
What would you like? Just drivers or I'm part of the press?
The Americans already policing the street outside.
That's so good. That's the best way to end an article like this. Gotta love it. That was good. Stuff.co. Anyone, if you're interested, go and subscribe. Hey, they got 84,000 subscribers, and like they've got quite a sense of humor too. What did I miss here? Probably media voice training Americans. Yeah. The minister is basically the Family Guy joke. Please, please don't make me do stuff. Protect them and their assets. That's right. And we're all in on the ring, ladies and gentlemen. Us Australians and New Zealanders, we're here to help protect hegemonic interests. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? There's nothing wrong. Like, at least you know where you stand. It's a proper class system. At least you know where you fucking stand. So where do we want to go? As Jerry Poppins has already alluded to, today is pretty much choose your own adventure in terms of how we go down the various holes that keep on coming up as we dig deeper and deeper into this stuff. Look, let's actually first see the actual press release. Good idea, mystery. Let's have a look at that one. Where's the actual? Because they kept on talking. That guy kept on talking about it. My favorite New Zealand politician kept on talking about the press release. No, they'll release something about it. They'll release something about it. Like, let them release it. Let them release it, please. For God's sakes, let them release it. Leave me alone. I've got shit to do. Let's do that. So this is the New Zealand U.S. Embassy consulate in New Zealand, Cook Islands, and Niue. Like, they don't even really. That's interesting how they have the same one. But here it is. Here's the picture. He's cutting the ribbon, ladies and gentlemen. That's a good picture for the press. Wellington, FBI Director Kash Patel travelled to New Zealand this week to open a dedicated law enforcement attaché. Does anyone even know what an attaché is? Anyone? Discord recommendations? Oh, yeah, Discord. Anyone? Yeah, tell me. Avalava says, you just jumped in. Why is the FBI a U.S. internal investigation org working in New Zealand? Thank you. That is a good question. So once we read the official press release from the US about this, let's go and ask that question. That's what I really want to know. The FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, how is its remit beyond the United States? Like, isn't there another agency that's supposed to deal with, things like Five Eyes? Like intelligence communities that are on an international level. Isn't there another agency that's supposed to deal with that? I don't know, even like the CIA or something like that, or the NSA, a national security body. Why is the Federal Bureau of Investigations doing this? Do they even have any jurisdiction in other countries? I don't know. I don't think that is even how it works. Let's find that one out. While the FBI has stationed personnel in New Zealand for several years, establishing a full legat position in the country will strengthen and enhance the long-standing cooperation with a Five Eyes partner in the southwestern Pacific region, i.e. a bulwark against the China threat that is potentially going to sweep from the southern Pacific across and up through South Central America and then into North America. This is what this is about. This is a strategic move. But that is my thesis. I was going to say conspiracy theory there, but let's call it a hypothesis. Let's call it that. All right, so let's have a look at this language, please, because it's off-putting. It's a little bit off-putting. Where is... All right, so we're just reading the press release from the US Embassy for New Zealand, and they have noted the words in regards to the FBI office, the words attaché and legat. What do these terms specifically mean in this context? The FBI has had a strong relationship and collaborated closely with our counterparts in New Zealand for years, said Director Patel. Expanding the Wellington office demonstrates the strength and evolution of our partnership as we continue to work together to address shared security objectives in the region. Okay, fair enough. The FBI collaborates with international law enforcement partners. Okay, so there you go. The FBI partners with other law enforcement officers worldwide, which are established through mutual agreements with the host country. Wellington has originally established in 2017 a sub-office of the Canberra, Australia Legat. There's that Legat thing again. What the hell is that? Come on, think faster. Damn. Oh, here we go. Excellent question. Thank you. Thank you. So flattering. These terms are very specific to describe official diplomatic and law enforcement framework for the new FBI office, a legat. Legat is the acronym for a legal attaché. Oh, a legat is an FBI official name for an overseas officers and the program that manages them. So the new standalone office in Wellington is a legat office. It's part of a global network of over 60 such offices located in US embassies around the world. Its function, the primary role of a legat office is to serve as a bridge between the FBI and law enforcement and intelligence agencies of the host country, in this case, New Zealand Police Security Intelligence Services. They do not have the authority to conduct arrests. There you go. Isn't that interesting? Eh? That's very interesting. They don't have the authority to conduct arrests or independent investigations in New Zealand. Their work is entirely based on liaison cooperation and information sharing. Well, why are they there then? Can't you just, in the information age, can't they just send an email? Like, why do they need to be there if they can't do anything? Counterterrorism, cybercrime, international, legal attaché. In short, legat is a name for FBI's office program in a foreign country. Legal attaché. Attaché is a diplomatic term for a specialist who is posted to an embassy or diplomatic mission. The FBI agent in charge of the legat office holds the formal diplomatic title of legal attaché. What is it? A legal attaché is a person, the senior FBI special agent who leads the legat office. Their status as an attaché, this person is an accredited diplomat with the US Embassy. This gives them official status and protections under diplomatic conventions. They are the chief representative for the FBI in that country. Wow, so like they've got diplomatic immunity, I'm assuming. Analogy, just as the embassy has a military attaché to liaise on defense matters or a commercial attaché to liaise on trade, a legal attaché liaises on federal law enforcement matters. Legat is the office. So the FBI is opening a new legat in Wellington. So it's just the office. The legal attaché is the person. Okay. So when the US Embassy press release mentions these terms, it's confirming that the new FBI presence in Wellington is an official, permanent, and diplomatically recognized office, which is run by a senior accredited FBI official, the legal attaché. I feel so enlightened right now. Why the hell is there a Yank base in the middle of Oz? Crikey! Crikey, mate. This is Avalava on the stream chat. Here's another piece of trivia for you. Putin recently worked in NZ as an RGB. Putin apparently worked in NZ as an RGB agent. No way. And what a station as well. Hey, beautiful scenery, lots of cheese, wine, good agricultural, good produce. I'm sure he had a great time. I'm sure he had a fucking awesome time in New Zealand. Like, there's worse places for you to be sent as an agent, an RGB agent, right? There's got to be worse places to be sent. Well, there you go. Okay, so tackling these challenges demands close collaboration and trust. Our existing partnership in New Zealand has already delivered notable successes. Together with the New Zealand Police and the FBI, work to investigate and disrupt a wide range of criminal activities. These joint efforts include investigations related to, and they have a list of things that they've worked on. So we could get into that, actually. Let's have a look at some of the things that they claim to do together in some form or level of coordination. Let's have a look at that, shall we? They've got a list here. So the terrorist attacks on the mosque. So do you reckon this is true? Or is this just like kind of the sideshow for us? Like, oh yeah, we helped with these terror attacks and stuff. But really they're ramping it up just for China. Please attribute to the Police Commissioner Mike Bush. So the Christchurch terror attack, 250 officers and support staff dedicated to inquiry. 1 minute read. There we go. The inquiry into the Christchurch terror attacks has the largest number of detectives and specialists we have ever deployed in investigation. We have more than 250 officers and support staff dedicated to this inquiry. This is now an international investigation which includes staff from the FBI and the Federal Police on the ground. The FBI, with staff from the FBI and Australian Federal Police on the ground in New Zealand, as well as investigators assisting in Australian states. That's crazy. There you go. So the FBI did help out with stuff like this. There's no indication at this stage that anyone else was directly involved in the attack. We believe this horrific act was committed by one person. The national threat level remains high, and our vigilance and visible presence will continue at this time. This is precautionary for the safety and assurance of everyone. Today, the Prime Minister announced an inquiry into the attack, a move we at police welcome. It is important we learn any lessons that we can from the tragedy. She also spoke about surrendering firearms. As per existing processes, we are happy for people to surrender their firearms to the police. We would ask that they please call their local police station or arms office first to advise on the safe transport of the firearms to the police and to alert our staff ahead of time given the current situation. Finally, I want to thank the public for their overwhelmingly positive feedback and messages of support. So it's really just the media release from that's what they fronting as evidence that the FBI helps out with a New Zealand affairs like something as significant as the Christchurch terror attack, and that was from 18th of March 2018. Let's get a refresher on that one, shall we? Because I must admit I can't really remember the details of it too much. Let's see if we can get a short summary. The Muslim Council of Hong Kong from 6 years ago. I wonder what their coverage is like. Let's check this out.
The road to the Al Noor Mosque paved with flowers, crowded with mourners. Here, more than 100 members of the New Zealand futsal team came to remember the national goalkeeper, Atta Elian, killed on Friday.
We've formed not just a friendship, but a brotherhood, and so it's just unbelievable.
A close friend, Gassan Alaraji, told me Atta tried to tackle the shooter.
He ran towards the shooter to stop him very bravely. Unfortunately, he was shot and he fell short. He tried to get up again and he was shot again.
The death toll now stands at 50. More would have died if not for Abdul Aziz. When the gunman started shooting at the Linwood Mosque, Abdul drove him back, first by throwing an FPOS machine at him, then by picking up a rifle discarded by Tarrant.
And what I did, that shotgun I had in my hands, I threw like an arrow on him, and he bust his window, and that way he got shocked. He thought I'd probably shoot at him or something.
The 3-year-old boy killed in the Al Noor Mosque has been identified as Muqad Ibrahim. His sister lives in Perth.
3 weeks ago was last time I was chatting him on FaceTiming with the family. And he says, Khadra.
This is just Channel 9 News. The Muslim Council of Hong Kong have stolen a report from Channel 9 News and reposted it on YouTube. It's interesting.
When are you coming? Sometimes he call me mama.
I remember watching the NZ shooting on live leaks. Get fucked. No way. That's crazy. Cheese Swiss. The law doesn't restrict their reach. They don't give a fuck. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I wonder what they really get up to. They why have a presence, right? In this day and age where you have so much, such good and rapid telecommunications, if all they're doing is sharing information and they need to have an office set up inside the embassy that deals with the FBI, which is about federal law enforcement for the Americans, why do you need that? Why do you need federal officers to enforce American law on somebody else's soil? If you have not seen that footage, dude, no, I have not seen that footage. No, I haven't.
Because you see him with.
Maybe links in the Discord. Yeah, watching the NZ shooting footage was pretty harrowing. That guy recorded and streamed the whole thing. It's basically GTA in real life. Oh, God.
My older boys.
You may say that I'm a dreamer.
New Zealand's Muslim community is reeling. The Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has shone as comforter-in-chief. This was the Kilbirnie Mosque in Wellington, the PM adding to a waterfall of wreaths on the front steps. 34 remain in Christchurch Hospital, 12 are still critical. There are 7 operating theatres in action when normally it's 3. Because some have several gunshot wounds, they require multiple surgeries.
It's that fact that someone has done this to our people, our friends, our colleagues. This is just unbelievable.
At a Christchurch cemetery, the grim work of preparing 50 bodies for burial. Australian pathologists have arrived in Christchurch to help speed up the burial process, and staff at the morgue have been working through the night. But under Islamic law, they're required to bury them as soon as possible. So there's mounting frustration from families desperate to lay their loved ones to rest. This afternoon, Prime Minister Ardern announced a small number of bodies would be returned to their families this evening.
It is the expectation that all bodies will be returned to families by Wednesday.
Ms Ardern revealed she was one of the 30 people who received Tarrant's rambling manifesto 9 minutes before the attack.
The assurance I want to give is that had it provided details that could have been acted on immediately, it would have been.
She said that while Tarrant's trial would take place in New Zealand, she is seeking advice as to whether he could serve any sentence in Australia.
I believe that some people purposely, they are trying to break down the harmony we have in New Zealand with the diversity, but they are not going to win.
In Wellington this evening, a moment's silence.
Whoa. There you go. Bloke stopped shooting when he got a white guy, then apologized to him. What the fuck? Only have direct contact for influence. That's mental, man. That's crazy. So, can I just say, or can I ask then for our New Zealand audience, or for our New Zealand correspondent today, what is the... Has anything come about of this trial or any FBI involvement in this one? It just seems like there's a bit of a stretch going on here. Oh yeah, the FBI were helping out with this one. The FBI have been helping out with, narcotics, and the FBI has been helping out with cybercrime and stuff like that. It just seems like very useful covers or excuses to set up an office in Wellington. It seems pretty loose, actually. the associations, to be honest. Like, this was not great. I think the FBI was mentioned once. We're helping out, man. The FBI's helping out. That information is classified. Yeah, of course it is. Fucking oath it is. All right, so organised crime and money laundering. Let's see what they got to say. New Zealand police operations deal huge blow to organised crime. 35 arrests, 3.7 million in assets seized. Is that marriage away there? I see. Yeah, it looks like it. Hey, ooh, there's a first aid kit there. Hey, someone's got something in a saddy bag. Look at all that cash. Wow. Oh, what I wanted to actually know, and you can, like, please, our New Zealand correspondent today, why the fuck did that guy have access to, I'm assuming it was an assault weapon or something like that. Why the fuck have they got access to that? And, like, how do New Zealanders feel about, like, gun control and all that sort of stuff? Or is this a highly, highly politicized issue in New Zealand as well? It's something that Americans and New Zealanders can have a cup of tea and share some thoughts over. The idea of gun reforms. A quick DuckDuckGo search for NZ mosque shooting footage 2019 shows a link on the gorcenter.com with the whole video. Fuck. Not safe for work. I don't think I can really play that one live stream for y'all. That's why I suggested if someone wanted to, they could potentially put it in the Discord. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for letting me know. I don't know if I'm prepared to see that, to be honest. Right wing loves guns. Fair enough. Again, like, there's a lot of money in it. It's a big industry. I know people that were angry about it. Like, angry about access to guns, or people that were access to any talk or banter about restricting. Rural people, farmers love their guns. Yeah, that's the same conversation that I've, like, had with people in Australia. I seem to only really know people that, like, live on properties and stuff like that, and they want to, I don't know, shoot, I don't know, feral somethings that want access to gun. I'm friends with farmers. Yeah, that's the same here. Like, you know, when I went to the States, like, I stayed with some friends in Texas, and you know, they were very acquainted with ye old firearms, and, like, I was scared shitless, didn't want to touch it because it's just not a cultural thing. I don't understand it. He used a semi-auto AR-15 and semi-auto shotgun for it, the types we banned in '96. There you go. Censored comments. Someone's been censored. So a couple of people have been censored. Oh, whoops. That was a while ago, Voltaire. When Americans say anti is not, Israel not, and anti-capitalist, it's anti-American and anti-democracy. What the FBI will label as terrorism and threats could easily just be people that protest and speak out. Yeah, absolutely. It's like in the UK, Keir Starmer's labeled some Palestinian action group or something like that as a terrorist organization because they broke onto that military base and, like, spray painted a bunch of fighter jets or something like that, because the UK is still selling arms to Israel or something like that, and they labeled that as a terrorist organization because they spray painted some fighter jets. Like, fucking come on. So yeah, that's interesting. Like, the word terrorism, the T word, is like deep state talk for whatever seems to be anti-establishment and unmanageable rowdy behavior from the commoners that we don't like. We will see those people and raise them as terrorists. And so then we can, you know, basically work beyond our remit and beyond any legal or fair processes and just, like, bring these people to quote unquote justice. That's the real use of the word terrorism. Watch out, JAG. Maybe they should try to get the US mass shootings under control before claiming that they are helping out others. Oh my God, that's a really interesting point. Because that was it. Like, the Christchurch shootings, the FBI is helping out. Like, yeah, where's the FBI not help? Like, I heard a stat yesterday, and, like, it came from, I'm pretty sure, Democracy Now. You know, typical liberal source, like, crazy libtards. But they said that, like, I don't know what justifies a mass shooting, but I'm assuming it's more than you can count on one hand, let's say. But America has already experienced 250 mass shootings this year. This year. It's the 1st of August. Is that right? Is that right? That's fucking crazy. So, yeah, like, Cash Patel's got a lot of work cut out for him. And it goes well beyond, apparently, setting up new offices. And, like, you know, the claim is right from that Radio New Zealand article. Like, you know, he's come here early in his tenure. Must be high up in his priority list. Can I just say? Very high up in the priority list. Coming to New Zealand for some reason. Sounds right to me. What have I missed here? Cheese Swiss. Under no pretext should arms and ammunition be surrendered. Any attempt to disarm the workers must be frustrated by force if necessary. There you go. There we go. Sounds right to me. Yes, let the workers fight and fight physically for their own rights. Dilemmas, but they just need more good guys with guns. ... America. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, this is obviously something that's split in the chat. There we go. It's controversial. It's controversial. Look, not wrong. So the workers should be able to defend themselves. So they should. But like in a world, in a hyper capitalistic, hyper consumeristic economy, which I don't think Marx would have envisaged, where the gun lobby is the one that dictates policy on firearms, not for the, what's the word? The defense of the sovereign citizen, but simply so they can push products and make mega profits. Is that justification to have arms anymore in a civilian population so we can help support the profits of gun manufacturers? It's an interesting, it's not controversial. Look at Palestine. Yeah, but that's a foreign state as opposed to like you fighting against your own state, I guess you would say. That's somebody else invading them. So, like, the workers should be able to defend themselves. Like, I think sovereign nations should be able to defend themselves against foreign nations coming in, or foreign states coming in and trying to screw them over. I get your point, but, like, that's kind of a UN chartered item anyway. People are allowed to defend themselves against foreign states attacking them. That's just kind of international Relations 101. If somebody comes and starts killing you, you fight back as a state, though, as opposed to like this being a class issue. But that is the premise of the Second Amendment. The premise of the Second Amendment is so you can have local citizenry arm themselves and defend themselves against a foreign tyrant, a tyrannical government. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. And like, again, like it is therefore general international relations. Like I think even the UN upholds that, like, you know, you should be able to defend yourself against a foreign enemy. But like what we're talking about now is the contradiction between, or what I'm raising is the contradiction between the idea which most socialists and Marxists, hence the quote there from Karl Marx, would argue is that the working class has the right to defend itself and should not be disarmed at any point by any discussions from a bourgeois political system. But like the fact of the matter is that it's not the working class who are producing their guns. These aren't Minutemen who know how to basically, I guess, produce their own firearms. These are massive corporations who produce firearms for profit. So like if you were going to say to me that the working class was arming themselves and they had their own armories and they had their own industry and they were making their own firearms, then fucking you go for it, baby. But like there is a contradiction between corporate profits and mass consumerism, telling people that they need to have the latest firearms for some reason, and the working class defending themselves. There's massive, it's not black and white. I think firearms should be allowed for self-defense, but under an Australian style of licensing system. It's an interesting backlash. Like the Australian reaction is very interesting to this. Like, you know, after we had the Port Arthur massacre, you know, everyone was just like, all right, fine. We'll give up our arms then. Fine. You know, have them. We didn't want them anyway. But like, you know, big reaction. And held up in many societies, and this is a progressive position, and there is a difference between progressive and liberal positions and left-wing positions. I'm holding that definition here. It's a very progressive and liberal position to hold up Australia as some bastion of how to deal with guns and people that cause problems. And usually in civil society, this is how they sort out issues, which is like, let me just tell you, I can take drugs and drink like a fucking champion. I can drive under the influence like a fucking champion. Sometimes I'm probably safer because I slow right down. I slow right fucking down if I'm behind the wheel and I've, you know, had a few, or if I've, you know, I'm a little bit, you know what I mean? I drive slower. I'm probably actually safer. But because there's a lot of pricks out there that under the influence fucking wipe people out, wipe whole families out, and destroy lives of other people, then I can't drink and drive anymore. I can't take drugs and drive anymore. So like in a civil society, usually there are rules that protect people from outrageous and extreme outliers. So this is a weird contradiction. It's a weird contradiction. And it's not as simple as like, you know, arming the working class because there's going to be a revolution tomorrow. Most of the people that want to be armed in the working class are you know, people that are right-wing zealots and think that they have to actually protect the state from, I don't know, lefties or some type of, I don't know, jihad or something like that. Like the Sharia laws coming, so we better arm ourselves so we can protect ourselves from some Muslim invasion or something like that. So I don't know. Why drink and drive when you can smoke and fly? Well, you know, I could do both. Fair enough. Good call. But like that was completely hypothetical. Completely hypothetical. But like, yeah, if I was going to do something like that. No, that's true. I can take it like a champion. I can do it like a champion. I can take drugs like a champion. How about that? I can drink like a champion. And like, I can't do anything else. Like, I can't do things. I'm restricted in doing things because of, you know, civil arrangements, let's say, and like being part of a civil society. So I don't think this is a really easy conversation. I don't think it's a really easy conversation at all. I'm all for arming the working class, but I would really like the working class to arm themselves and leave the capitalist system behind, if you know what I mean. Because right now, all of the arms that are produced are for profit, I would say. Just putting it to you, Chad. Yes, you could potentially do those things. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the protection. Avalava, just remember, guns are a force of violence. This violence can be used towards any particular goal. Capitalists tend to use this against workers. They also benefit from guns being a commodity that's profitable. This violence always leads to pain and suffering regardless of your beliefs. And that's a very good point then. Very good point. Violence is violence. And it only is used towards particular goals. And like the way that, like, I'm sorry, have you seen the modern state? Like, even if you had a bunch of well-trained paramilitary types in your nation, like the force of a militarized police and a militarized armed forces being used on a population. I don't know, man. I don't see people really being able to stand up to the absolute militarization of police forces around the world. Like, they are ready. They are ready to meet us. They are ready to meet anyone, to be honest. Yeah, here we go. I think Cheese Swiss. Well, a well-regulated militia means the government owes me a weapon and the lead that goes with it. Jag 3D printing classes with Luigi. Far middle. I think everyone is going to have a gun problems thanks to 3D printing. There you go. 3D printing is the way around. And there you go. So there you go. If you can 3D print it, if you can 3D print it, you can get access to that. And that becomes a working class theme. It becomes like a form of direct action through working class movements. Propaganda by the deed, if you know what I mean. Jag does, with a reference to Luigi there. Direct action and propaganda by the deed. Now, they sound like working class endeavors, not fighting for the rights of corporations because you've been brainwashed to think that, you should have the right to have this. It's not about rights. It's about consumption and keeping the capitalist machine going, because you don't have production without consumption, and vice versa, obviously. But like, in order to produce value in capitalism, you must have people consuming, or else the value sits there stagnant, and then it devalues, and then capital is wasted. Which is horrible. You don't waste capital. Capitalists don't like that. Capitalism doesn't like that as a mode of production. All right, so I wanted to have a look at the Five Eyes. Actually, let's see if there's any more connections here. Why the hell does the FBI really need to be in New Zealand? Okay, New Zealand police involved in the world's most sophisticated law enforcement actions against organized crime to date in Operation Trojan Shield. All right, so let's figure out. So it's Operation Trojan Shield. More than 300 officers executed 37 search warrants across Waikato, Bay of Plenty, Auckland, Central and Wellington districts in a coordinated operation. To date, 35 arrests, over 900 charges laid, 3.7 million in assets seized, a total of 20 ounces of methamphetamines, large bags of cannabis. So unfortunate. Multiple kilograms of iodine? Really? 4 firearms, 14 vehicles, including 2 marine vessels, estimated over $1 million in cash, and a number of mobile phones seized. 8.6 kilograms of methamphetamines also seized at the border during the course of Operation Equinox. Coordination with international law enforcement agencies has delivered a massive blow to organised crime in New Zealand. So they've just coordinated to help bring down like illegal drug trafficking, I guess. Let's be honest. Oh, here we go. They've name dropped the FBI. In the past, the FBI has dismantled encrypted platforms criminals use to communicate. Operation Trojan Shield saw the FBI create a closed encrypted company called ANOM to fill this void and to target organized crime, drug trafficking, and money laundering activities across the globe by monitoring individual communications about their criminal offending. For over 18 months, ANOM's criminal users unknowingly communicated on the systems operated by FBI agents. The users believe their ANOM devices were protected before law enforcement by the shield of impenetrable encryption. Intelligence derived from the platform presented opportunities to disrupt major drug trafficking, money laundering, and other criminal activity while the platform was active. New Zealand police began working with the FBI on Operation Trojan Shield in January 2020 to monitor the communication platform users in New Zealand. Information between our agencies led to the commencement of Operation Equinox and Celtos. I'm exceptionally proud of our New Zealand police staff who supported Operation Trojan Shield. Okay, so like the FBI, we value our strong relationship with the FBI and the Australian Federal Police and Europol. And it is through these partnerships and the unrelenting efforts by law enforcement agencies from multiple countries that this operation has seen such incredible success. Interesting. And this is from the 8th of June 2021. That's an interesting. So like I've heard about this type of stuff before where they set up an encrypted messaging service and then they feed it to like one person in an organized crime group or something. And then like that person sings the praises of this encrypted app, so they all start talking on it, and it's just some investigation agency or something that is funding and supplying this encrypted messaging service, and they're just using it to grab evidence on people. It's pretty crazy. Cheesed Swiss. I'm a non-violent anarcho-communist, but real is real. Let's be real about self-defense. 100%. I'm all for it. Like I said, I like this 3D printing idea. I didn't think of it as an option. That's a very clever workaround. But like what I'm talking about is let's not be misled by some fanciful story about rights when really having access to weapons in a capitalist society has only got to do with being a consumer. Whether or not you have the ability to have a firearm has got nothing to do with your legal rights, your protection, your autonomy. It's got nothing to do with those things. It's really got to do with a bunch of capitalists who sit there and decide policy decisions because they want to make money off you. So if you can arm yourself, mate, I'm all for it. Vive la révolution. But like, I just don't buy the propaganda about all of this stuff, which really just comes from, lobby groups who want to make sure that their profit margins are maintained. So arm yourselves, my fellow members of the working class. Trojan Shield is kind of an enforcement operation led by the FBI and coordinated with the DEA, the AFP, and Europol, and numerous other law enforcement. So there you go. Hey, all you skeptics out there, it has legitimate claim. The FBI has legitimate claim to be in Wellington. They are the coordinators of Operation Trojan Shield. Can't believe how skeptical people are in this stream. That's not like us. We're usually very welcoming. Can you explain briefly what the FBI's involvement was in this operation and how it relates specifically to New Zealand? Over 300 criminal networks, over 45 languages, more than 27 million messages. Canadian-based encryption service platform Phantom Secure was dismantled by the FBI in March 2018. Another well-used encryption service, Sky Global, was dismantled in March 2021. The closure of those two encrypted communication platforms created a significant void in the encryption communication market for criminal users looking for a new provider. The FBI operated its own encrypted device called Anom. For over 18 months, Anom's criminal users unknowingly communicated on a system operated by FBI agents. Holy shit. Intelligence derived from the FBI's communication platform presented opportunities to disrupt major drug trafficking, money laundering. Now, this is the thing, okay? This is the thing. And this relates kind of to the gun conversation as well. Like, the FBI wants to set up an office in New Zealand because, it's worried about things like drug trafficking and terrorism. But like, who gets to define what's an act of terrorism or who's a terrorist group, and who gets to define why drugs are bad? Like, if you just legalize drugs, you wipe out all of this criminal activity that you have to set up attaches and legats in other people's countries for. You just wipe it out straight away. Like, come on. And all the billionaire bunkers. Yeah, that's an interesting one too, isn't it? Like, everybody has a big interest in New Zealand. And it's not just because the FBI wants to set up an office there. It's because billionaires like our mate Peter Thiel, the kingmaker himself, they're setting up billionaire bunkers. I'm pretty sure somebody sent us a link about that before. Was it you, Voltateur, that sent us the link to that? And we watched that New Zealand content creator, that chick, talking about the bunkers that they're all building on the South Island somewhere, I think. One could even argue, this is Avalov in the stream chat, one could even argue that the actions of the New Zealand shooting, of the New Zealand shooter and other such events, which primarily happen in the US, are inherent and required in a capitalistic society. Oh, can you please divulge? Tell us why. Yes, I did. Yeah, okay, it was you. Yeah, because we watched that. It was like, I don't know, a couple of months ago now, or a month ago. That was eye-opening. And like, I've since seen that come up like a number of times in other things. All these doom prep billionaires out there, eh? Setting up bunkers. Oh, don't worry, everything's fine. The economy's going well. Everything's fine. But we're just setting up our little doomsday bunkers in the global south. And they must have fucking bets on New Zealand, right? And like, you know, if there's going to be fucking nuclear war, some type of nuclear winter, fallout, result of that, the entire global north is screwed. Man, New Zealand's the place to go. And we're not too far behind that. We're pretty close. So, you know, especially us on the east coast, we should be fine. The further south down Australia, the better. So anyone living in northern Queensland or the NT, just remember, maybe buy some property down south so you got somewhere to escape to. Or we could just find out where all these bunkers are and we could raid those bunkers. Raid away. I really want to get deeper into this little theory here over why shootings actually are inherent and potentially even required in a capitalistic society. I love this type of speculation. It gives me great satisfaction, it does. So yeah, Operation Trojan Shield. Let's see what AI had to say about Trojan Shield. Based on the information provided, here's a brief explanation of the FBI's involvement in Trojan Shield and its connection to New Zealand. The FBI role in Trojan Shield was foundational as they led a multi-year international sting operation. The core of the operation involved the FBI creating a secretly controlled and supposedly secure encrypted communication company called Anom. It's so funny, like, it's pretty on the nose as well. It's like, oh, I get it, because, like, anonymous, eh? Oh, I'll use that. So good. From 2018 to 2021, the FBI and partners distributed these compromised Anom devices to criminal syndicates around the world. This allowed law enforcement to intercept millions of messages. It's crazy. Again, they set the rules on what drug trafficking is. And like terrorism. So like, you know, if they just wiped out what is considered illegal substances and not, you wouldn't have to have all of this ring. Another element of capitalistic society for you there. I know I live 14 hours drive from Pine Gap. The more you know. The more you know. These events are used by corporations and politicians in the US to promote a solution that is just another commodity. I need some citations, so don't just take my word for it. And it's divisive too. Yeah, it's highly politicized. Helps, you know, divide and conquer, doesn't it? It really does help divide and conquer the working class into lines about whether or not you support gun rights and freedoms or not, as opposed to supporting corporations and their profit margins. But yeah, it's a good point. That like the solution is always another commodity, like some type of, I don't know, some type of extra service that schools get provided with. They get provided with metal detectors, or like teachers have to take training on how to use weapons and bring down threats within classrooms, or like there's some new piece of technology that goes along with a gun somewhere to make it more safe or something like that. Yeah, there's always a marketable solution for this. Relation to New Zealand. New Zealand was a key international partner in Operation Trojan Shield. The New Zealand police were actively involved in what was described one of the world's most sophisticated law enforcement actions against organised crime. The operation uncovered criminal activity within the country, identifying 57 users of the compromised Anom communication system in New Zealand. Europol's Deputy Executive Director specifically highlights the exceptional success of the authorities in New Zealand for their role in the Joint Task Force. Okay, so the FBI, again, all you fucking skeptics in the stream today, the FBI has legitimate reasons to want to be opening up an office in Wellington. All right, so just calm down. Work by covert online New Zealand detectives has contributed to the sentencing of a Florida man for possessing child pornography. 51-year-old Robert something was sentenced in Tampa, Florida to 10 years in prison for receipt and possession of child pornography. Court has also Sciolina to pay $57,000 in restitution to victims and forfeit 6 electronic devices that he had used in the commission of the offence. The New Zealand detectives operating covertly online as part of their involvement in the FBI's Violent Crimes Against Children International Task Force. Okay, there's another reason for it, another example. Where's the cybercrime and fraud stuff? That's what I want to know. A tribute to Detective Inspector Christian Barnard. A Wellington-based man was arrested by the Financial Crime Group in Auckland this morning as part of an FBI investigation into organised criminal group who stole cryptocurrency from 7 victims valued at US $265 million. Whoa, that's a heist. Who is this guy? Between March and August 2024, the cryptocurrency is alleged to have been fraudulently obtained by manipulating the victims and subsequently laundering through multiple cryptocurrency platforms. Now, this is the thing, like a lot of the talk I hear about cryptocurrencies is just like, it's a fucking Ponzi scheme. It's not real. And like, it's just used at the moment by like people who launder money around the world. It's got no real value in terms of like economics. But like, you know, time will tell, I guess. Voltage, our weed industry is fucked up. They spend so much money killing crops while making it so only big pharma companies can grow it, but still import more. That's hilarious. Yeah. So like when you say industry, you mean legit industry? Like, is it legalized in New Zealand? I know it's legalized here to a certain extent. You just need a medical certificate, I believe. It's alleged the defendant scammed 7 victims, spending the stolen virtual currency to purchase, among other things, $9 million worth of exotic cars, hundreds and thousands of dollars on luxury handbags, watches and clothing, nightclub services and private security guards, and rental homes in Los Angeles, the Hamptons, and Miami. The man was bailed after appearing in Auckland District Court today, where he received interim name suppression. He is due to reappear in Auckland District Court on the 3rd of July. Oh, I wonder if it actually happened. This guy seems like a fucking modern day Robin Hood, because like, you know, if it's 7 victims who you stole $265 million from, they're not working class people, I'll tell you that much for free. Who the fuck has $265 million at their disposal? God damn. I wonder who this person is. See, so the FBI has some legitimate coordination efforts with New Zealand law enforcement. And that's why they need their own office. But why now? Why now? Why now? Let's let AI speculate on that one, actually. We have been investigating the law enforcement coordination efforts between FBI, New Zealand police forces, Australian police forces, European, Canadian, as part of the justification as to why the FBI needs to set up an legat in the Wellington US Embassy. But one question remains. Why are they doing it now? If this is crucial, should this not have already occurred? Can you please speculate on this one? Now, our research assistant here, with their extensive access to the breadth of information that is on the internet, might have a different perspective on this one. Yes, legit, only some form of legalization, but the rules around it is fucked. No room for homegrown businesses to start up, where rural communities could create revenue for themselves, but can't. There you go. Hey, there you bloody go. Isn't that true? See, this is capitalism. And this is a particular stage in capitalism, like post-financial capitalism, post, as Lenin describes it, imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, where the corporation runs supreme. They control and dictate the market. If this was real capitalistic free market stuff right here, you would have, local businesses and rural communities, getting in on that cash cow. But no, they're not allowed to do that. They aren't given licenses to grow a plant. A plant? No, it has to be done by big pharmaceutical companies. They can be trusted. Hey, you can trust Big Pharma, aren't you? They're never going to exploit people for profits. They'd never do something like that. That is an excellent and insightful question. Stop it. I'm blushing. While the provided context does not offer a single official reason for the specific timing, we can speculate based on the information available that the decision is not a sudden one, but rather strategic evolution based on the several conversion factors. Okay, it's an evolutionary thing. All right. Most crucial point is that the FBI is not setting up a presence from scratch. They are upgrading an existing office. The office in Wellington was first established in 2017 as a smaller sub-office managed by a main legat office in Canberra. The current move establishes Wellington as a full standalone legat. And they've actually just gone through and just AI's just trawled from the same website that the official US embassy that we've been taking from as well. Here we go. Operation Trojan Shield, of course. Evolving complex threats. The nature of international crime is more sophisticated. Part of broader global expansion. The establishment of the Wellington office is not happening in isolation. It is part of a larger ongoing FBI strategy to expand international footprint. The FBI's Office of International Operations has been in the process of opening 5 new legat offices and 3 new sub-offices globally. Okay, and where are the other ones then? Where are these other offices then? In what parts of the world? Where are these other offices that they are prioritizing? In what parts of the world? Strengthening the Five Eyes partnership, the US Embassy statement explicitly notes the full... Yeah, I know, but come on. In essence, the move appears to be less about sudden realization of the need and more about the combination of factors. The relationship has matured. The success of joint operations has proven value of a deeper partnership. The global threat environment now justifies more. Yeah, I don't buy it, man. Like, they could just keep going from where they were. Some of our government recently went over to the States and talked with Trump admin. When they came back, they started talking about DEI and all sorts of culture war bullshit. Interesting. There you go. I got better ganj when I was 14 than I could get at a dispensary now. When you say better, what do you mean, like stronger? Eh? Yeah, I'm sure you could. Yeah, dispensaries. It's unfortunate when corporates take over, because that's what I was always worried about. I was just like, if they take over and like it becomes medical grade, like it's probably safer, but like, will that kill, the vitality of the black free market, like a real free market system? Will I be happy with the product? It's gone downhill. Northern California still has some good. There you go. Voltage. If it's part of the Five Eyes, then other countries, i.e. Canada, UK, Australia, yeah, if it's part of the eye, but like, that's what I want to know. Senegal, in the context, name 4 out of 5 main offices. Pakistan, Qatar, Wellington, new sub-offices in Germany, in Cyprus. Like, what's the go there? Pakistan. Hey, you want to talk to me about a fucking containment policy? This is it. This is why I asked this question. It's part of my hypotheses. It's not a conspiracy. It's a fucking hypothesis, okay? Here's my fucking hypothesis. It is part of the China threat. And like Senegal, okay? China, big expansion in that part of the world. Pakistan, eh? It's not a bad idea having a little bit more of an FBI presence in the Indian Ocean, around that part of the world, as you're getting closer and closer to the Suez Canal, and you have to go like into the Middle East to transport oil to and from, because China relies heavily on the Middle East and that particular corridor there to get oil in and out. Same with Qatar and then New Zealand. This is potentially this is a containment policy around India and up through the Malayan Peninsula. And then Frankfurt and Cyprus. I don't know where that's coming from. But why these countries? Why are they prioritizing these ones? It's not what I thought they would be, to be honest. I thought they would be more in Southeast Asia and around the Pacific. But like, this is a route that the Chinese need to take in order to get oil through, like, through the Middle East. And that's actually the route. Pakistan, like Qatar, Pakistan, and then I don't know about Senegal though, but like, still places that are heavily influenced by China at the moment. Interesting. I agree. It always points back to China. China. It's my theory and I'm sticking to it. I'm on CBD, the oil right now. Shit's great. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I know, a friend of mine, she has oil, like a dropper kind of thing that she uses for her medicinal purposes. I know she has some good stuff. She had some good times on it, so it's not just medicinal. I'm sure she's enjoying herself too. But there you go. System works. I will never talk bad about the medical grade stuff and the market level stuff ever again. China also started making diplomatic moves around other Pacific islands as well, expanding China's capabilities for resource gathering. Yes. And there's like, there's many forms of imperialistic behavior, right? And like, there's colonial activities where you go in at the end of a gun and you get resources, like literally take somebody's actual resources, or you go in there and take advantage of their labor, their source of labor, and you threaten them through physical force, or you go through as part of diplomatic moves. Soft diplomacy. You spend a little bit of money on them, invest in some of their infrastructure, and then maybe they'll let you have access to their resources. Now, I'm not really picking sides, there's no judgment here, but like, you know, if you can get your imperialism done by diplomacy, by like talking shit out, that seems to be the better option than doing it at the end of a gun. You know, call me old-fashioned, but like, you know, I give me the diplomatic end of the imperialist ambition over the violent one any day of the week. Yeah, the medical shit's fire. Well, look, Jack, I think you're gonna have to come and live in Australia. Okay, there you go. It's finally happened. I finally found an excuse. Come and live in Australia because the medical shit is fire. No more shoulder or knee pain, and a smooth high to boot. Smooth, yeah, that's the nice part about it. When you actually have one, that it's not a groggy kind of sensation. That's where the real value's at. Try the uncensored AI, or try asking it to present the question from a socialist perspective. How much has the CC paid you to shill for them? Can I get a cut? That's funny. Look, if you really want a cut of like what the CCP has been paying me, then like I'm gonna have to let you in on the entire operation, and I can't tell you live on a stream because the CCP won't like that. So I'll have to tell you off. I quit smoking and drinking. Someone going on with the liver. Fair enough. Something going on. Oh, something going on with the liver. Okay, fair enough. Well, at least you're responsible. Eh? So, hey, maybe the oil. Hey, the oil's an alternative. Actually, it's probably still broken down in the same way. Would David's in the house. How you going, David? Welcome. Welcome to the chat. Would Marx have a problem with free trade? Shouldn't workers of one country have the right to invest in other countries? That's a really good question, actually. That's a really, really good question. But like that's the thing about, I guess, some of the values of a liberal society. We're supposed to promise all of this stuff, like, you know, actual free trade relations. Now, from what I understand, if you actually got to a socialist society, so like a workers' paradise is what we're talking about here. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Like, shouldn't workers of one country have the right to invest in others? In a situation where you have a workers' society on an international level, it may not even be considered investment anymore. It would be like considered working class solidarity. So if you were to think of something like along the lines of, you know, Cuba makes a lot of sugar, well more sugar than they need, and American agriculture, thanks to the Midwest, means they produce way more wheat than they need, or corn than they need, or they have livestock in excess of what they need, then it would be, I'm assuming, less about the investment and workers' solidarity in terms of like trade on a barter system. Because from what I can understand from reading, especially Marx's Grundrisse, which is like kind of the volume that really sets up a lot of his thinking in terms of analysis of capitalism, is that he points out beautifully the idea that bourgeois society is the structure of human social relations built around the idea of exchange. And so like if you have a society where the main social relations, the way that we all relate to each other, like predominantly, not every relation, but like predominantly, is through exchange, then bourgeois society is very specific in what it does. Like you can do that fairly, and it involves things like investment. So if you had a social democratic society where you had a good social democracy in place where workers really had a good say in politics, and they had good social safety nets, and they had good conditions and good protections against capital, then maybe workers of one country would choose as a political unit to invest in another. But if you're talking about a world full of, like, a world post-socialist revolution where the capitalist mode of production doesn't really exist as such, and you have a socialistic mode of production where workers kind of dominate all industry and they decide what to do with the wealth that is produced by society, then you'd have to ask the question, would you have a bourgeois style of society anymore? Like a societal structure that is predicated on social relations being based on exchange, like exchange value. Maybe you would have a society where the predominant form of social relation was actually about use value now. So like the use of the products of the workers, the products of the workers' endeavors. So like all of the value that they produce, maybe they're just doing it now not as an investment option, not because it produces more surplus value that they're going to make profit off somehow. They're just producing it because that's what they do. They produce shit, and then they're going to trade and barter with other socialist countries out there. So I guess it depends if this is workers in a capitalistic scenario, workers in a future socialist world and paradise someday. That I think is a defining consideration in answering that question. Is like, I don't think workers would really give a fuck about investing, if you know what I mean, like investing in the bourgeois sense, about like, you know, laying some capital down so we get a return one day. It'd be more about, solidarity. And maybe there will be places that are like struggling, like workers' countries and workers' environments that are struggling with something, and then everybody, all these socialist countries get together, these various socialist governments or whatever have you, get through like an actually potent and real organization like a UN, like an actual form of United Nations or something, and they decide, hey, everybody, this part of the world needs some assistance. They're struggling. They don't have enough housing. They don't have access, or they don't have a grip on their situation at the moment when it comes to being resilient in the face of some type of climactic event. And like, let's send doctors, let's send workers over there to help build up their industry. Let's help send workers over there to build up new houses for them that are resilient enough to withstand the climactic conditions that are specific to that area. So like, I see it being a little bit like a socialist society would be based on different social relations, and people would exchange. Like, exchange wouldn't be the primary relationship as such. It would be social use values, if that makes any sense. It'd be like what society, or the social group, the group decides is important to produce, and then they distribute that throughout the world system. And it'd be, like I said, based more on a barter system as opposed to having to deal with currencies. Like, everybody trades in US dollars at the moment, and that's the reserve currency. And if you really want to buy stuff, you need to have US dollars. And so then you have to have a US bank account. And then so you have to use the SWIFT system, and then you have to have some type of relation with a US private bank who can give you access to massive amounts of US dollars, so you can actually trade and all that sort of stuff. That is a trade system, that is a relationship based on currency exchange. And so, like, if you were talking about workers investing in other countries in a capitalistic system, then they'd have to buy into the capitalist system somehow and trade in US dollars. Because, like, 80% of world trade is still done in US dollars. So it'd be hard for the workers to escape the clutches of the capitalist system, I would say. And, like, even if they wanted to invest wisely or do it ethically, they'd still be feeling the burn of capitalism. 100%. Google Trump's ambassador to Malaysia. I bet he will be great. Google Trump's ambassador to Malaysia. I bet he will be great for trade. LOL. All right, fine. Let's do it. I've been putting it off for too long. What is it? So US ambassador to Australia? No. To Malaysia. Let's have a look. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia's new ambassador to the United States, Tan Sri Muhammad Shahrul Ikram Yaakob, has reaffirmed his commitment to further strengthening Malaysia-US bilateral relations during a credentials ceremony with President Trump at the White House. Presented his letter of credence to Trump during the presentation. During the ceremony, Muhammad briefly exchanged warm pleasantries with Trump, expressing his commitment to further enhancing bilateral ties. He also thanked the president for the Secretary of State Marco Rubio's participation in the recent 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting and related meetings held in Kuala Lumpur, which reaffirmed the United States' commitments to the region's strengthening of the US-Malaysia Comprehensive Partnership. Where's the dirt, bro? I want the juice on this one. Americas. Oh, wait, whoops. I got the wrong one. I did type that in though, didn't I? Is this the one? Is this the guy? Trump nominates Hooters-loving MAGA commentator Nick Adams as an ambassador to Malaysia. Hooter-loving MAGA commentator. Who's Nick Adams? Nick Adams, an Australian-born conservative author and influencer, recently became President Donald Trump's pick for the US ambassador to Malaysia. He's most known for his bold social personality and his undying support for Trump, as well as his self-described alpha male lifestyle. Adams worked as a deputy mayor in Australia before becoming a US citizen in 2021. His social media platform advertised Adams as President Trump's favorite author, but that title is not what draws his audience. Adams has garnered a decent following for views and behaviors that most consider satirical. A post he made in 2022 directs his fan base to turn off the fortnight and open the Bible. Another from 2020, one of his most famous, describes himself: I go to Hooters. I eat rare steaks. I lift extremely heavy weights. I read the Bible every night. I am pursued by copious amounts of women. I am wildly successful. He repeatedly thanked the president for granting him the sacred call of duty. Adams has expressed his pro-Israel views, which mainly consist of young men numerous times. This has angered Malaysia's Muslim population, sparking backlash across the country. Dozens of demonstrators recently gathered outside the US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia's capital, in protest of Trump's nomination. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Very good. Hey? And what's not to love about Hooters? Hey? And the Bible. Hooters and the Bible, they go hand in hand, actually. They really go hand in hand. Sometimes I take my Bible to Hooters when I want to eat my rare steak. Because, you know, the women, the copious amounts of women that follow me around everywhere, they don't want to come to Hooters with me. So I can read my Bible in peace and chew on my fucking rare steak. Very good. Very good. Probs thinks strippers really like him too. Hey, they do. All right. You can be excused for thinking that. Example, our collective makes more EVs than our society needs. How can we fairly dispose of our excess inventory in other countries? Yeah, I think that's more like a social, like how a workers kind of country would operate. Like, we produce more than we can consume. So, like, let's do deals with other workers groups out there to balance that out. And like, let's just say arguably, David, that like you can't balance that out and like no one wants your EVs, then I think the workers would then make the decision to be like, well, then let's cut back on production. Because it's not like they need the profits from those EVs desperately to survive. They would just scale back production. And if they scale back production and they all work a little bit less, then they have more leisure time. But in a society based on profit, through exchange value, like that's not an option. When a company, a corporation makes too many EVs, what's their decision? It's just like, well, we need a crack marketing team to brainwash everyone. Like we'll spend millions of dollars on marketing, so everyone throws out their current EVs or like decides to upgrade their, petrol guzzling vehicle to then buy an EV. And so they'll spend millions of dollars in marketing to recoup the costs so they don't lose their profits from the production process. So I think that's a good, I agree with that example. Like, in a workers' society, there would be completely different decisions being made. Especially if a workers' society was transitioning between capitalism and socialism, you'd have a more balanced act between a society based on exchange considerations only to then being more use considerations only, and there'd be like an equilibrium potentially between the two. You'd think about the exchange as well as the use and try and balance out those factors, as opposed to at the moment it's just really about exchange. This is the state of global geopolitics. Yes, it is. But like, that's the state as granted to us by someone like Trump. This is the Trump phenomena right here. It's just kind of just, slapping everyone in the face when it comes to like usual decorum. It's just like, no. No, like, I know there are rules and like kind of etiquette around this, but come on. Adams, he loves me. He loves me. This is like Kash Patel. Like, what the fuck did Kash Patel really add to the FBI? Apart from just being Trump's lackey? Nothing. Like, he was gonna drain the swamp. He was going to bring down the FBI. I wonder if he's done that. Has he brought down the FBI yet? I don't think so. Man. Let's see if Al Jazeera, I know they had an article. I want to see if Al Jazeera had any more dirt on this whole situation. FBI upgrades New Zealand office to counter China and international crime. China first, though. Let's be honest. Oh, we were going to ask. Sorry, I was going to ask this again. How do I turn off? You said that I can try uncensored, or even try asking it to present the question from a socialist perspective. How do I try the uncensored thing? That's what I want to figure out. Code interpreter plus capture fields. No. Code interpreter. Controls. Valves. Reasoning, effort, default, seed, stop sequence, stream chat response. Select different model at top left. Oh, okay. Would you like to know more? Yes, I would. I would like to know more. Let me move that so you can actually see the thing properly. No, but then I can't see anything. All right, let's check. What am I using at the moment? Whoa, DeepSeek? No way. And like, which do you propose? Interesting. Because I would like it to speculate, because it didn't speculate very well, I must say. Did a shit job of speculating on this one. It's the Venice one. Okay, let's try a new. Sorry, am I not seeing this right? Oh, Venice. Here we go. No, that didn't change it at all. Okay, here we go. We have been investigating in today's stream why the FBI has opened up a legat office in Wellington and would like to speculate on the timing of this development. Fuck you. It would appear that they have had a sub office in the embassy since 2017 and have now decided that it's important for this to become its own legat. Why does the US want to expand this operation and formalize it in New Zealand now? Can you please speculate on this? It would seem that they have been operating with success without a New Zealand legat, and seems thus the timing of this seems to be a significant factor. The New Zealand commentators in the press have even noted that Patel has come to New Zealand to do this early in his tenure as the new FBI director. This would insinuate a level of urgency and priority around making this happen. All right. Let it speculate. Let it cook. It's not as smart as Gemini, no. Who cares? But I wanted to, let's see it speculate. Oh my God, you're right. Excess production is a capitalist trait. I do think it is. Like, in the sense that, like, there's so much of, like, modern capitalism is designed around, like, oh my God, let's produce something. And then, like, fuck, what do we do with the overproduction? Like, the mega corporations that have been produced since the start of the 20th century, their biggest problems is, what to do with the overproduction. Not production. It's not like we live in a world now anymore that it's like, oh no, we don't have enough food, or we don't have enough this or that. It's like, oh my God, we've produced too much shit. How do we convince the consumer class out there to buy more stuff? And you know what's been significant in that, David, and was really fucking over the world at the moment, is debt. Credit cards and shit like that. Like, the consumer class, the working class, generally, average people out there haven't had the money actually because their wages have been stagnant for so long. But, like, along came the credit card to save the capitalist economy. And, like, now people can buy new shit on finance all the time as opposed to actually having to save up for it. And marketing, yes, as we talked about before. But, like, you know, credit and debt saved capitalism. What application is this mystery? That is a very good question. Skunks96, welcome to the stream. I'm not sure if you've been in the stream before. If this is your first time, let me know. If 4AS was listening, he'd be like, plug. So we'll do some plugging. This is actually a program that has been gifted to me by someone in the movement. Very generously has decided to share this with me. So I can't take any credit for it. I actually really don't. You could tell I was getting live tech support there. I don't even know how it works properly. I'm still learning. But this is like an open source AI model that has been constructed by someone with incredible tech expertise. So if you'd like to know more, let me know. And Skunks96, let us know if you are new to the streams or not. And I'm going to do some quick plugging because everybody needs more of that in their life. If you are new to this stream and you've been watching this and you've been enjoying the banter, please come over to the Discord. This is where we share our propaganda. Been poking my head in since you did the vid with Geordies. Yeah, I'm new. Oh, welcome. Okay. Geordies. FJ podcast, the gift that keeps giving. So yeah, if you are new or not, and you want to be in on the conversation, I can link you up with the person that provided this to me. So come and join the Discord and I can assist you there. At least you can get some questions answered about like what the hell it is, how it works, but it is quite the tool, let me just say. And there's variations that we can call on. Also, if you are new here and you want to not miss notifications, all that sort of stuff, please go over to the Patreon and become a free member there, please. I can't get notifications out to everyone. That's not how the algorithms work on social media. I think they're actually literally screening me. That's my hypothesis. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a hypothesis from just putting out content for long enough now to know how algorithms work. So please go over to Patreon and sign up for free so I can get stuff to you. If you can financially support, I'll love you forever. But at least, yeah, go become a free member. Click the search button so the model gets recent context info. Oops, too late. Don't worry, I'll ask the same question again and I'll press the web search. You're right. Web search helps out a lot. I keep forgetting to... Can you see how like used I am to Sam Altman's luxury? I don't even know how to search properly on any other LLM. Let's do that again. Yeah, it was probably the podcast. If you see me on an FJ thing, Skunks, it's probably I did a podcast with FJ in June, early June, I'm pretty sure. So you probably saw me there. But yes, please come over to the Discord, drop your propaganda, share your stories with us, and we can help you out if you're interested. At least answer some questions for you if you want to know how this tool works. Based on information provided, here are some speculative reasons why FBI might be formalizing a legat office in Wellington. Now, despite having a presence since 2017, escalating transnational threats, the nature and scale of transnational crimes, such as cybercrime, human trafficking, and drug smuggling, may have increased significantly. Like, they didn't give us a lot, did they? There was like 5 links, and they're just like, this is why the FBI is opening up an office. There's like 5 examples. And it's not just like they were all from 2024 or something. Like, we were having things dated back to like 2019, 5-6 years ago now. Come on. Strategic shift in Indo-Pacific. Haha. The US may be placing greater strategic emphasis on the Indo-Pacific region due to geopolitical tension and the rising influence of China. A formal legat office can enhance the US's ability to monitor and respond to security challenges in this critical area. There you go. I think it's that, man. Counterterrorism, with the evolving nature of terrorist threats, including lone wolf attacks and extremist ideologies. Hey? All those evil extremist ideologies out there, like, you know, a workers' society. Hey? Evil fucks. Hey? What about revolution? Hey, that's fucking extreme. Watch out for those bastards. They're the worst. Cybersecurity concerns. The increasing frequency and sophistication of cyber attacks targeting both governments and private sectors may have highlighted the need for enhanced cybercrime investigation and prevention capabilities, which the FBI can provide. It seems this is what they do, right? For the rest of the international community, is like they set up the big sting operation in terms of the digital realm, and like having the resources. Let's be honest. They have the resources to fund these massive operations, like setting up Anom, encrypted messaging services to then, literally give out to organized crime networks, so they could trick them into giving them all the evidence they need. Operational needs. Successful FBI operations in New Zealand since 2017 might have identified gaps or challenges that former Legat office can address more effectively. Yeah. Interesting. Diplomatic, like it's legit. There's a legit reason. Diplomatic and strategic signaling. Formalizing the FBI's presence can send a strong signal to both domestic and international audiences about the commitment of the US to its alliance with New Zealand and regional security more broadly. Kash Patel's initiative. As the new FBI director, Kash Patel might be prioritizing the establishment of the Legat offices in key locations as part of the strategic vision for enhancing global law enforcement. Because he's just that type of guy, right? Eh? We saw the footage of him in that introduction video, which was just like, I am going to destroy Trump's enemies. Like, that's why I want to get into the FBI to drain it. And now all of a sudden he's all about enhancing global law enforcement partnerships. That's why he's in New Zealand at the moment, because he's draining the swamp and destroying Trump's enemies. Like, come on. He doesn't give a shit about global law enforcement partnerships. He's there as a fucking political puppet. He's a stooge. He's a loyalist. This is something else. Something's happened. And if you've read Project 2025, like we have, we've been reading it. So you go over to the Twitch files. We do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the moment. And we're reading Project 2025. And Project 2025 is very clear. It's destroy the bureaucracy and stack it with loyalists. Conservative promise number one. Conservative promise number two is America needs to, this is quote unquote, you can read it in Project 2025 yourself, and this is what's happening right now. You can read it. America needs to stop calling China a competitor. This is useless language. This obfuscates the issue. China is not a competitor. China is an enemy. We need to start calling them what they are. They are a threat to American, I was going to say hegemony, but like, let's say to American security. That's what an enemy is mostly. It's not just about you being the dominant player in the world. Like, they actually feel like the Chinese are going to come and get them. That's what the conservatives are really worried about at the moment. So anyway, we've been reading it. We know what it's all about. So like, Kash Patel, this speculation here, I'm not buying it. Kash Patel might be prioritizing the establishment of FBI officers in this key location to enhance global law enforcement. Kash Patel wouldn't know what global law enforcement is if he fell over it. Okay. He was part of the Department of Justice in America, a prosecutor. He was a lawyer in America. What does he know about global law enforcement? He's local. I'll give him that. But like global law enforcement, I don't know, man. Regional security dynamics. Changes in regional security dynamics, such as increased maritime activity or emerging threats from non-state actors. It would have been more interesting if they said, because, China's been under a bit of fire recently for its continual circumnavigation of like Australia. So it's like going through the Tasman and, going around and around with its navy, which is pissing people off. That would make more sense than like non-state actors. Like what? Like there's pirates in our part of the world that need to be like, that are involving themselves in increased maritime activity. Come on. Legal and extradition efficiency. A formal Legat office can help streamline legal processes, including extradition. Now here we go. This makes a lot more sense. Can I just say? This makes a lot more sense. What happened with fucking Julian Assange and people like that? The Americans were very upset and wanted to be able to extradite people and bring them home for trial. And they weren't able to do that because all these people have, like, you know, diplomatic immunity and stuff like that, like being in embassies around the world. But like, if you have an office, an FBI office in somebody else's territory, and you get them into that office and it's attached to an embassy, that's it. They're yours. They can't be touched, and then they can be taken away and taken to home soil. That's actually, hey, this is my favorite one, Avalava, so far. Might not be as smart as Gemini, but I like the speculation. This is an interesting one. Because if you have, they're setting up the Legat office attached to the embassy. And if they can get someone into that office, you can't go in there yourself. So watch out, New Zealanders. There's already one in Canberra. Watch out, anyone in Wellington. If the Americans get a hold of you and pull you into the office, like, they could extradite you if they really wanted to. Making it easier and faster to bring criminals to justice in either country. Five Eyes integration. Ensuring that New Zealand is fully integrated into the Five Eyes intelligence sharing network can enhance overall security and effectiveness. But like, they're in Five Eyes anyway. How does having an FBI office actually help that? So what was your question from the start, I think, Avalava, was why does the FBI operate outside of American soil? I understand that it is important for them to coordinate with other national policing agencies outside of the US in order to carry out their functions. However, if they have no jurisdiction on anywhere but American soil, why is it important for them to set up legats and official officers on other people's soil? Isn't simply having officers or agents around the world enough? Yeah, Venice edition. So we get censored so much by YouTube that could ping us for further monitoring. I could see myself being labeled extreme. You know what? It's got a good point. We see, like, you've been picked up. Okay, you're in Wellington, Volta. Next time you're in Wellington, you've been picked up and you're now sitting in the Legat, which is attached to the US Embassy. And they're like, we see you've been picked up. You've been censored multiple times on a YouTube stream, on various YouTube streams over the last so many months. Do you have anything to say for yourself there? I'm sorry. Not like that. They only tell us what they want us to know. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but not this AI. This AI is better than that. I can't believe that got censored. It really got censored. 1:28 on my time. They only tell us what they want to know. You couldn't get that through YouTube. That's crazy. Volta, you bad. You bad. The FBI operates outside of American soil for several important reasons, even though the primary jurisdiction is within the United States. Here are some key factors. Okay, I get the international cooperation. Yes, counterterrorism. Cybercrime. But why do they set up officers? Intelligence sharing, legal assistance. They can provide legal assistance and expertise to local authorities, helping navigate complexities of international law, crises response in the event of crisis, such a natural disaster or a terrorist attack. Having an on-the-ground FBI presence allows for a quicker and more effective response. Diplomatic relations, training. Okay, FBI personnel abroad can't they do that without a legat? While it's true that the FBI has no legal jurisdiction outside of the US, having agents or officers present in other countries is often insufficient for effective cooperation coordination. A formal legat office provides a structured framework for these activities, ensuring the FBI can fulfill its mission of protecting national security and upholding public safety on a global scale. That's its mission. Are you listening to this? Is there any American taxpayers that are still in this stream and listening to this? I would be furious if I knew that that was my FBI's mandate to uphold public safety on a global scale. I thought we had Interpol for that. What the fuck are they doing protecting all of us on a global scale? I still don't get it. Like, why? I'm sorry. Your speculation is not of assistance here. It still does not make sense to have anything more than officers, agents in embassies around the world providing the type of assistance and service provision that you have listed, and they could do this without the need of a legat. Why is a legat so important for the FBI? Why doesn't the CIA have a legat? Why doesn't the NSA have a legat? I'm sure they have similar objectives in terms of protecting national security and upholding public safety on a global scale. This one seems to be a bit faster than Gemini as well, or the Gemini that I've been using. Just tuning back in, legat. Is that a French gun? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it is. It does. It seems like they get their language and they borrow it from French, but legat is the name of an official FBI office. It seems to be an acronym, but I haven't been able to find what the acronym was for. That's what they said it was. But yeah, and a legat is the name for an FBI office that is outside of America and attached to an embassy. It's an official thing, though. So like a legat has an official FBI person in it that has diplomatic immunity, as opposed to just having like agents out there in the field, apparently. Maybe the FBI is just the cover story for the MIB. That's a good one. There we go. Here come the men in black. All right, you raise valid points about the differences between U.S. intelligence and enforcement agencies operating abroad, and why some have legat offices and others do not. Here are some reasons why legat offices are important for the FBI. Why it's important: legat offices provide a formal legal and operational framework for agents to work in foreign countries. This includes having designated space for secure communications. So here it is. Here's another reason. I think that's a probably important one. The Americans need a secure base of operations in New Zealand. I think we're getting to the bottom of this now. Voltateur, if you're still listening, they're invading your fucking country. This is a form of kind of the empire expansion, I guess you would say. Apart from just having New Zealand involved in the security operation, part of the Five Eyes operation, like like Australia and Canada and who else is in Five Eyes? UK, I believe, all the English-speaking ones, all the Anglosphere ones. They're the goodies. Apart from just having them there involved in operations as vassal states somehow, you actually set up bases with legal foundation on foreign soil. I think we're getting to the heart of it now. Embassy presence. While the FBI agents can be stationed in embassies, a legat office offers more autonomy and a dedicated space for conducting operations. So basically they can operate and do FBI functions in Wellington now without any New Zealanders or anyone coming in and fucking that up and asking questions. Because it's American soil, basically. It's like when the monitor comes to your classroom to make sure the teacher is doing their job. yeah, they can watch the New Zealand cops now. They can watch New Zealand police departments and just be like, "Hey, come on, remember that investigation? Hey, where are ya? Where are ya? You told us that you would be doing X, Y, and Z by now. Come on." It's so BS. Well, look, we've got one in Canberra. And so the Americans want to be able to run their federal investigations and stuff for public safety on a global scale, of course. The GATT officers act as liaison points between FBI and host country law enforcement. Yeah, see, there you go. There's your monitor coming in and checking on the teacher there. As a liaison between FBI and host country law enforcement, this formal structure facilitates better coordination, as in, better oversight. Hey, why aren't you doing your job? Embassy present. Agents in embassies may have limited interaction with local authorities compared to a dedicated legat office. There you go. Resource allocation. Embassy present. Resources may be more limited and shared with other agencies. Can constrain the FBI's ability to respond effectively. Allow for the allocation of specific resources. Why has the covert operations? Yeah, often conducts covert operations that require physical presence. The GATT officers provide human intelligence. Are they on HUMINT? Why did the NSA does not have a legat office? Signal intelligences. The NSA's primary mission is to collect and analyze signal intelligence, which can often be done remotely. And that's funny. It's really answering the question. It's like, no, they can do that from home. They don't need an office in New Zealand. They can monitor communications worldwide. That's fine. It can be managed from remote locations. That's so good. Thanks for legitimately answering that. While the FBI agents and CIA officers benefit from having legat officers for legal, operational, and coordination purposes, the NSA's focus on Signet allows them to operate effectively without a physical presence in every country. Yeah, okay. I think you missed the point of that, but you still some interesting insights. It's so they can monitor. I think that's a good analogy. They can monitor better, and they have actually a more of a legal foundation to operate out of that country. And so that probably means that the host country can't really screw anything up. Like if they're really operating a sting operation or something, or if they're operating some type of strategic attack on an adversary, an enemy, as the conservatives say, an enemy in China, they can do so. And the New Zealanders can't be like, excuse me, we have a decent relationship with China. They are our largest trading partner. Would you mind stopping the aggressive posturing and get the fuck out? No, we have a legat, so you can't tell us to fuck off. Yeah, interesting. That makes a bit more sense, I guess. It adds to my hypotheses, not my general conspiracy theories. That's what I like to get down with. United States Federal Bureau of Investigations upgraded its presence in New Zealand to a standalone office in the capital, Wellington, as both governments work together to counter Chinese influence across the Asia-Pacific region. Actually, you know what? Let's ask. I'm interested in the Australian one now. I really want to know how long that's been there for and what's going on there. It would seem that the FBI has a legat in Canberra, Australia. Can you please give me some details about that? How long has that been in existence? And has there been anything significant that has come out of its presence in terms of FBI investigations and coordination with the AFP. I wonder how many times, honestly. There's a lot of people that use large language models across the world now. Millions and millions of people a day interact with large language models. I wonder how many times that question has been asked. Bet you it's the first. I'm placing all bets. That's the first. The FBI's legal attaché legat office in Canberra, Australia, is a key component of the FBI's global network of international offices' existence. Established, the FBI legat office in Canberra has been in operation for several decades. The exact year of establishment can vary depending on sources. It's well established the FBI has maintained a presence in Australia since at least the 1980s. There you go. Is located in the US Embassy in Canberra, which provides a secure and diplomatic setting for its operations. Coordination with the AFP. The FBI has worked closely with Australian AFP on numerous counter-terrorism investigations. One notable example is the joint effort to disrupt terrorist plots and share intelligence, Operation Elibank. This was a significant operation involving both FBI and AFP, focusing on dismantling a terrorist cell with ties to Al-Qaeda. The operation between the two agencies was crucial. Cybercrime, joint investigations, capacity building. The FBI has provided training and expertise to the AFP and other Australian law enforcement agencies on advanced cybercrime investigation techniques. Oh my God, I know someone that works for the AFP. I'm going to have to ask them if they've gotten any training off the FBI before. That's crazy. That's why you have the FBI in there. Hey, you've got to train up these outposts of the Imperial Empire, these colonial outposts in New Zealand and Australia, these backwards countries. You've got to train them up so they can actually fight crime properly, fight cybercrime, and protect the imperial core. Transnational crime, extradition cases. The presence of the legat office has streamlined the extradition process between the US and Australia, ensuring that criminals can be brought to justice. See, this is it. They have a line. They get you in to an FBI office on foreign soil, but they get you in and they can probably investigate you and do things that are permissible under American law without having to take you home first. I think that's what it's really about as well. We've captured someone, and let's investigate them under American law. We need an office to do that. We can't just do it in the embassy. We need an office. I think we're starting to get to the heart of this. They need to be able to operate like Americans that are acting outside of America. I think that's a big piece in this whole puzzle here. So we're basically, as a country that allows this to happen, we're basically, for the square meterage of that office space, we're relinquishing our sovereign rights to sovereign rights and law of a different country, so they can do things under their jurisdiction usually, but far, far away from their own shoreline. Let's ask this. Does the AFP or the New Zealand equivalent have legat-style offices in their embassies in the United States? Anyone want to take any bets on that one? Do you reckon we have offices where we can interrogate people using Australian law or New Zealand law in America? Anyone? Taking all bets. We're taking all bets. America never does evil interrogating. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a bit much. I do apologize. I take it all back. I shouldn't have gone there. beyond my remit as a humble streamer. Fuck, it's searching. It's working hard. I've never been asked this question before. Give me time. The FBI's Legat office in Canberra has been a cornerstone of law enforcement partnership between the US and Australia. Whoa. For many years. Interesting. All right, here we go. Presence in the US. The AFP has a strong cooperative relationship with various US law enforcement, including the FBI, the DEA, and ICE. While it does not have a Legat-style office, the AFP maintains a liaison officer program where the AFP members are embedded within partner agencies in the US. The liaison officers, AFP liaison officers, are stationed in key locations such as Washington, New York, and Los Angeles. These officers facilitate. So, like, basically what the FBI had in New Zealand, they had officers. They had some agents that were attached to the embassy that were able to assist with, you know, joint operations and local activities and stuff like that. But like they've stepped it up to a Legat. It's full-blown Legat now, baby. Presence in the US, similar to the AFP, the New Zealand police do not have a Legat-style office in the United States, but maintain a robust cooperative relationship. New Zealand police have liaison officers embedded within key US agencies. These offices are typically based in Washington, D.C. Okay, so like the answer is no. They don't have formal officers that allow them to do their functions as federal agents in other people's countries. Yeah, that's the... Yeah, that's the takeaway here. Very interesting, right? Very interesting. I don't think there's any new insights to come from Al Jazeera here. Let's just see. Patel singled out the US and New Zealand collaboration on issues related to China in a video shared by the US agency. Some of the most important global issues of our time are ones that New Zealand and America are working on together, countering the CCP, in the Indo-PACOM theater, countering the narcotics trade. Both governments have previously expressed concern about China's growing presence in the Pacific region and Beijing's successful campaign to expand its diplomatic economic reach. Winston Peters, here you go. The minister was pleased to host FBI Director Kash Patel. They discussed the close security relationship between Australia and New Zealand, law and order issues facing the Pacific, and New Zealand-US cooperation. What is he doing? Is he giving him a football? Is it like a pigskin football, like an American one? Yeah, maybe. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think there's anything new coming out of here. There's no real insights to this. Hey? Like typical Australian and New Zealand local news. Pretty fucking low key. No one cares. Feeding the beast. What's that in relation to? Tell me, please. Get me back on that one. Feeding the beast. I didn't think I had any other New Zealand. Oh, Sky News. Oh, can we just top this off, ladies and gentlemen? This was on Sky News. Australian Sky News, by the way. Let's see what fucking Sky News has to say about this. Oh, man. Come on. Don't do this to me. I want to see what Sky News has to say about this. Come on.
In breaking news, the FBI Director Kash Patel has announced the American agency is opening a dedicated law enforcement office across the ditch in New Zealand. Let's go live.
This is our version of Fox News for the Americans that are watching this. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. Hardcore right-wing media establishment. Fucking great entertainment value, though.
To our correspondent, Jack Nyhoff. Jack, what's behind the move there?
Yeah, tell us, Jack.
Well, Kieran, from the perspective of the Americans at least, they've clearly stated it's about combating China's influence in the Pacific. New Zealand, of course, a Five Eyes partner, and this move by America is part of a broader push for the FBI to strengthen its presence in all the partners.
Surely. Kash is a darling of Sky News, 100%. They would love him He's a Trump loyalist, and he's there to gut out the FBI, the evil deep state.
Nations like New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and of course the UK as well. The FBI will work with local authorities here in New Zealand from this new Wellington office to combat things like organised crime, drug smuggling, fraud, and of course cybercrime as well. The office will focus on the broader region though: Antarctica, Samoa, Niue, the Cook Islands and Tonga. Here's the FBI Director Kash Patel speaking earlier.
Shows the world that the FBI is actually prioritizing a permanent presence across all Five Eyes countries. And here in New Zealand, we had not had that until this historic moment. Some of the most important global issues of our times are the ones that New Zealand and America work on together. Countering the CCP in the Indo-PACOM theater, countering the narcotics trade, working against cyber intrusions and ransomware operations.
Him pointing out the CCP there quite blatantly, really. It is worth noting that that was an interview provided by the US Embassy. Media weren't given an opportunity to question the FBI director. But New Zealand's Police Minister Mark Mitchell was giving a press conference on the...
Right, the five-eyed beast growing more eyeballs. Got it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Tsunami warning situation following that earthquake. And of course, this release came out during that moment. He met with the FBI director as well, along with the defence minister. He said that New Zealand already works closely in the Pacific to combat crime, and this was strengthening that existing dynamic.
New Zealand, in my view, has a vital role to play. We work very closely with the Australians. Our Commissioner has a very strong working relationship with your Federal Commissioner, Reece Kershaw. And we have a responsibility to be able to assist and support our Pacific neighbours, as we always have.
New Zealand has a very strong relationship with China when it comes to things like trade. Ministers today really distancing themselves from the wording from America, saying that it is about combating China. They say that it's not for them to comment, that the functions of this office are more about combating crime in the region and doing those things that I just spoke about. But it's clear that China's influence in the Indo-Pacific region is growing. You might remember those Chinese naval ships, part of a task group in the Tasman Sea in February between Australia and New Zealand. They conducted live fire rounds. October last year, China actually test-fired a ballistic missile into the Pacific Ocean, not giving many nations in the region a heads up. Those ballistic missiles are capable of carrying nuclear warheads as well. Obviously, it wasn't. It was just a test, but it's just a bit of show of power from China. China has also recently signed a deal with the Cook Islands around resource exploration. Now, New Zealand has a special relationship with the Cook Islands where it handles the foreign affairs. So the Cook Islands skirting around New Zealand to sign that deal. New Zealand cutting financial assistance to that island in response. And in March last year, New Zealand admitted its parliament networks were breached by a Chinese-backed hacking group as well. Now, New Zealand's government, as I say, distancing themselves around the language with China, but very clear here that that is the underlying dynamic, at least from the US Director Patel.
Did you know that? Did anyone know that? That China was hacked? What is it, the political offices of New Zealand? That's interesting. Eh? Cyber security issues. Eh? It's funny how they really want to distance themselves. And we saw the people there before. No comment. No comment. Is this going to piss off China? They're our largest trading partner. No comment.
Of course, the most senior member of the US administration to visit New Zealand since the start of President Trump's second term in office.
Jack, yes, indeed. He's a senior part of that administration. Thank you for that update.
Oh, man, that sucked. I want to see some fiery exchange there. Let's see what the comment section is like. Cool. I live in Wellington. Perhaps I should stand outside the FBI's workplace with a sign reading, "Where's the list, bro?" Yes! Oh, I'm so glad they brought Epstein into this. It's so good. Dopamine 87, thank you. You've made my fucking day, bro. What a legend of a comment. That's so good. I hope you guys can read that there. All right, Voltateur. Start the car. You go stand out the front of the office. Where's the list, bro? The headline should say, "New child trafficking office opens in New Zealand." Far. Oh, man, people haven't forgotten yet, have they? I thought the FBI was meant to stay inside the USA, designated to domestic issues. Hello? Yes, the entire world is a domestic issue for the US. Come on, wake up. Yeah, and we the people only just found about all of this today. Media in New Zealand is just too woke to cover this. We just saw one. We went through this. We got Radio New Zealand. We had stuff.co.nz. That's my favorite new news outlet from now on. We have a government who will bend over for anyone, not worried about ordinary New Zealanders. Will not stand alone and voice a different opinion, RE World Events. I'm in New Zealand, and this is news to me. It was only announced because Patel was spotted by media in Parliament's basement. Shifty as fuck. They did say that, didn't they? That was like in that Radio New Zealand. It is a bit weird how the only time he was spotted was in the basement. Combating crime, eh? Constable Cash on the job. That's hilarious. Just don't give them any lists of names. They will lose it. Patel's not got a good reputation with the Sky News audience. I know what we were saying before, he's probably loved by Sky News, but the New Zealanders, or no, the Sky News audience, they're not New Zealand. This is skynews.au. They're not appreciative. Look at this one. Anzacs fought the fascists, mate. Damn, that's scathing. Yeah, get those fascists out of here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your interactions today. This has been a very interesting investigation. We're going to have to do more of this trans-Tasman kind of stuff, to be honest. Like, I have absolutely no idea of the political situation in New Zealand. I'm still catching up really on Australian politics. I spend all my time looking at US politics at the moment. We'll have to do a little bit more of this, especially when, juicy as spicy meatballs like this come out. So, thank you everybody for your interaction today. It's been an interesting rabbit hole. Okay. And as the insinuations went earlier, we did go down a few holes. We varied it a little bit, but we went deep into just one hole, really, as opposed to going deep in multiple holes. So Jerry Poppins, 4AS, Thomas Dickerson, Voltateur, massive contributions today. I think everyone, round of applause for our New Zealand correspondent. Dilemmas, Cheesed Swiss. I'm just here to watch a trash fire. Hope you enjoyed it. From the lurk. Far Middle, good to have you back. It's been a while. Jag in there as well. Who else have I missed? Have I missed anyone? David, good to have some actual socialist banter on the side. It's been a while since I've really theorized on working class society, like an actual worker society. Skunks, 96, welcome if you are new, and please join us on Discord and become a member on Patreon, please, so I can get you notifications. And Avalava in the stream chat. A few people censored today as well. Few people, I'm disappointed. You're all very naughty. And in the stream chat, Avalava, I'm glad Sky News doesn't disable comments on their YouTube videos. I know, because I'd be out of a job. Like, I might as well just not stream anymore. Thank God they put their comments up. Thank God. And endless entertainment value, because that was a shit Sky News video. Thank God for the comments section. Avalava. Thank you, everybody, for your interaction. We'll be back on Monday with a YouTube stream, and we'll kind of switch it up, go to Twitch, and then back to YouTube throughout the week. Like I said, enjoy your weekends. This is a time where capital cannot touch you. You are free as members of the working class. So, I hope you enjoy the little time that the working class has etched out for you to get some reprieve. Until next time, please remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery. See you next week. Cheers.